gonna beat y'all's ass in Sparking Zero. I'm just put it out there. So.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay.
don't,
We'll
hey,
see, man.
you don't
We'll
want the
see.
smoke, man. I've been playing this before you was, swimming in ball sacks somewhere, man. You gotta remember, I'm old.
This is Professor Sensei.
It's your host, Desla.
Hey guys, this is Billy.
This is saxophone.
Hey yo, this is Obstil.
This is Glow.
This is Crimstrana.
Hey guys, this is CBG.
Hey, this is A-Town, and you're listening to the Rising Rush Podcast.
Hey guys, this is your boy Madara, and welcome to another episode of the Rising Rush Podcast. I'm here with A-Town Gaming and the homie Glow, as we call him, Unk/Graham. So guys, this is a new segment. We're going to be talking about, any Dragon Ball Legends related content that has dropped recently. That includes, of course, the Kid Buu Zenkai. We have some tier lists going around and many fun things to talk about. I myself am a former rank 1 player, returning after quite a few years. So I'm really excited to be here, guys, and thank you for the invite.
Oh, no problem. We do appreciate you here. As you guys know, I'm your host, A-Town, alongside our co-host, Opso, Desla, and Glow. And let's go ahead and kick things off with the weekly reset as of the 26th of June. We've got the My Legends recap campaign that's live through the 31st of July. Go ahead and click that link, and it does a summary of your account of how much Chrono Crystals you spent, what your teams are, etc. So really fun to see exactly what you've been playing since you've actually joined the game. There's the special anniversary pack sale that is also live through the 2nd of July, so a very short time frame. They'll actually have the Ultra Z Power. There's Legends Limited Z Power in there, and there's also some other upgrading materials. So if you want to dive into that, please do. It's just expensive, so if you gotta like that, you gotta like that. There's the limited rising returns of the Father-Son Bond, which is the Goku Bardock. That banner is live through the 5th of July. Skip. There's the non-stop raid that's continuing versus Beerus. That's going to be going through the 5th of July as well. The Universe Strongest Guild Ultimate Brawl, that is going to be available starting the 2nd of July through the 16th of July. He's also got some additional upgrade fixes from the announcements that they've released, such as like some co-op fixes, etc. The Zenkai Legends Limited Kid Buu, the blue one, he is also live in a game as well, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. We've got the Ultra equipment for the Ultra free-to-play Omega, say that 5 times fast. That is live as well in the game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in his meta pack, if he's usable, etc. The Gold Rush has also returned. That is going to be live through the 5th of July. There's also some new additional platinum equipment, Defiant Gohan for the Buu Saga, that is also live in the game. Chance Time Part 2, that is also live, so if you want to go ahead and pick your numbers, do that soon. You have up until the 16th of July to do so. Mega Equipment Bonanza has also returned, and that's going to be through the 3rd of July, so get your equipments upgraded. We've got the PvP Space-Time Duel that is reset, so collect your Chrono Crystals depending on how you ranked last season. We've got Worldwide Anniversary Missions that is live, so get those completed. Hoi Poi has also returned through the 12th of July. We got the Ultra Space Time Rush Super that is also live through the 17th. So collect those materials so you can get those Zenkais up if you don't already have them. And I believe that is it for all of the updates. So let's go ahead and start off with some of the changes in game. So we did get an update, and recently the servers have just been going up and down. Like I'm talking down for a couple hours, it comes back up. They're giving 500 CC. I mean, I get it. The servers are definitely having issues due to the capacity of stuff, but I feel like they've been very generous on, hooking us up with some CC every time it goes down. We've been getting 500 here, another 500 there, 150 here. I mean, at this point, they're probably giving us about 2, 3, 4K crystals just out of maintenance alone. We'll start off with you, Madara. What is your opinion on all of these maintenance? Do you think that they're giving enough CC, or you think it's not enough?
So I'm gonna sound like a broken record for many people out there, but back in my day, for every maintenance thing, we had like 1 to 2K, honestly. Regardless, though, yeah, they're being pretty generous, at least giving us something. I do think that unit rates have increased compared to like back in the day, so it's relative, right? So I do think they're being quite generous, but they definitely do have to be more consistent in fixing these problems because 6 years into the game and still having server issues. Which kind of brings the question, like, how much do they really care about this?
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for them to do something that's more locked. Obviously we can't queue with people from Asia, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're never going to play a Japanese player But here, when it comes to America and South America, for example, there should also be some type of lock because we don't connect well with them. We don't connect that well with Europe. So they have to focus on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Like there's got to be some kind of technology advancements for them to like upgrade, maybe add some servers in different parts of the U.S., etc. Because like I'm on the East Coast, I'm in Florida, so like if they got a little server up here that I can connect to everybody else who's playing with Florida, that's probably going to help out with the lag. But if I'm queuing up, let's say somebody in Africa, and it feels like they're playing in McDonald's, that's not going to be a fun experience for anybody. You feel me? But we'll
Hey,
see how all that kind of evolves, over time and stuff. But I mean, outside of the lags and the downplay, or not, I wouldn't say downplay because it's not really downplay, right? It's all factual. It's all critical feedback that the Legends devs really need to hear, right? So they can get their act together. How else has been your experience for the anniversary overall?
well, this anniversary has actually been pretty exciting. New mechanics being added. This fusing mechanic, for example, it's pretty fun. It's a new take on transforming. So it's pretty fun because you go from a already very good unit to something that's even more broken if you manage to get that fusion, which you have to work towards. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
handed out to you. You do have to work for it. Gogeta more than Vegito himself. But they're both pretty good units. I like the fact that they are skill based, so you get rewarded for playing better compared to, like I said, other units that would just flat out start off super low IQ. You don't even need to think, right?
Mm.
Here you play well and you get rewarded for it with an even better character that can basically turn around a match. Vegito's rush mechanic is pretty much guaranteed. A lot of people sleep on it because there's revival and this and that, but if you switch into a rival unit, you're giving him a 50% buff and two Dragon Balls. So
That's
be my
true.
guess.
Yeah.
And then Gogeta could be a little harder to fuse into with a lot of units that kind of like have those counter gauges like Gohan and UI. But once he gets going, he's a snowball unit that's pretty strong and pretty bulky. So I was having fun with them. I'm not on rank that much right now, but doing like friend battles here and there, it's pretty fun to use them. And they've gotten Fusion Warriors themselves have gotten such a buff that it's kind of hard to deny that they're like a top 5 team.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we'll see what else they're gonna get, as part three, slowly approaches for the 6th anniversary. If it's gonna be what we are expecting it to be, or if it's just gonna be something out of left field like this Ultimate Gohan that dropped out of nowhere. But going back to the actual server issues and stuff, Glow, what's been your take? You think they've been generous with the CC, or you think it's not enough?
I mean, as generous as the CC is, I'd rather have no server issues. Rather have the devs actually get off their asses and like resolve this as an issue. This happens every big celebration,
Mm-hmm.
to some degree. Some of it it's pretty bad, like this one. This might be one of the worst ones, but sometimes it's good. Like I know Madara came on my stream that one time. I was on an LF Broly, like, bro, no inputs were registering. The game was lagging. It was just bad. It's to the point where, like, if you're not running one of the units that just auto do stuff for you,
Mm-hmm.
if the game is giving you them issues, it's going to be bad. It is annoying. But at the same time, like, I do appreciate that the devs are giving CC. Like, I'm glad they're being a bit more transparent and straight up telling us, like, hey, we understand we made an issue. We understand that like there's issues. And at least they're being a bit transparent with us in that. And they told us straight up, it's like, hey, we got too many like people on the game that we didn't anticipate. But like I think that's also on the devs,
Mm-hmm.
not like I feel like that's on them not understanding that like, hey, like because I work in tech. It's like it's on them not understanding the scope of how many people play this game. You know on average how many people play this game. You know like usually a percentage increase
Mm-hmm.
of what happens for each celebration. You should be taking account into account how much you're expecting an increase in players and more. You should have prepared. Like if like we know, like even Goresh says it, they're preparing these kits a year beforehand. You should be preparing the servers a year beforehand.
Yeah.
So
Now we're going to get into the business side of things. See, from what my personal experience is, and just from me being in project management, there are corporations that are proactive and are reactive. I think based on how Bandai Namco has been treating Legends overall, they're more reactive than proactive with their approach on trying to fix things because again, you've made a great point, like they've gone through these issues years in the past. They would think these would be learning lessons, so they were able to prepare the servers. So when a big celebration like this does happen, I mean, come on, double fusion, Vegito and Gogeta, you wasn't expecting the servers to go crazy. You wasn't expect people who never played the game to start playing the game, and the people who used to play the game to jump back in the game. The bandwidth and like the overall volume of players should have been expected somewhat. And if it goes, you know, over or exceeds their expectations, they should have had more ways to mitigate a lot of these issues instead of it running in what were we, a whole month plus in the anniversary and we're still dealing with these issues. Like, what the hell is going on? You know, overall, I mean, I like the CC. What do you think, Opsto? What do you think of the generosity from the Legends team? You think it's not enough, or you think it's up to speed here?
I mean, I'm fine with all the CC we can get because, of course, I only summon on only one team, so I'm happy to get any CC I can get.
Oh,
But at
God.
the same time, what the devs should really do is that they should take the game down for as long as they need to just fix everything and give us like 2K or even 3K CC for our trebles.
I mean, I'll take
Like
that.
just like take the game down, fix whatever the fuck the problem is, and then just give us compensation for us not being able to play the game for as long as it takes for them to fix it.
Yeah, 12 hours, 24 hours, etc. I mean, at least they're able to find like a way to compensate. That way our time means something. Because there's a lot of games that don't do that at all. They'll just say, oops, sorry, our servers were gone for a whole day, but you can play now, and don't really compensate anybody for the time that they usually spend in a game. So,
Yeah, Mortal Kombat is like that, dude.
cough, cough.
Yeah. Jeez.
Destiny 2 is like that as well. So, you know, it's crazy. But what about you, Desla? Do you think the CC is comparable, or do you think they should just follow Opsto's advice and take the servers down as long as it needs to be?
I think he has the right idea for sure in terms of just definitely needing to just go with the approach of just, throwing caution to the wind and saying, you know what, bury the hatchet and just take the game down for a day or two max and just really like iron out these kinks for whatever internal problems there may be, like there could possibly be for their servers or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that could be causing it. I'm not too sure personally, but I do think that as far as compensation goes, they've definitely been generous, but it's kind of like what, Madara was saying earlier, that it's just sort of comparing, contrasting to how it was back in the day where they'd have like a couple hours for a maintenance and then they'd like give you like 1K CC and, like just, passing your way or whatever. But
Yeah,
here now it's like you're lucky to see maybe,
300.
if it's not an anniversary, like, yeah, like a couple hundred max. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of where right now I definitely do wish that they upped it a bit because obviously the premium unit output rate now is way higher to where, like, oddly enough, we are behind on certain premium characters this year compared to last so far, which is interesting. But
Mm.
I do think they'll be compensated for that pretty soon, and I'll get into theories for that later. But I'm cool with the compensation. I'm glad they're giving some at all, but I would just be in the boat of preferring it to where it wouldn't be needed in the first place for them to just, like you mentioned, not be reactive but proactive.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't have to give CC if the servers work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Hey, and if I can like bandwagon off of that, basically what Tesla said, you just made me think of something. So back in the day, yeah, they gave us like 1 KCC for a few hours of maintenance, which was amazing, right? But like you said, there's premium units are like this, like too quick. So like power creep is so quick that 300, 500 CC is not even that much because the unit that's like top 5 today is like
Mm-hmm.
not even top 10 in like a month or 2 months. Like things are changing so quick that you kind of need to be rewarded more, if that makes sense. Like if you actually want to keep up in the game, you kind of need better rewards. But they shouldn't even have these server problems in the first place. It's been 6 years, man.
Yeah.
They've had so long to fix it, and they just don't. It's like they just don't learn, like you said.
They just don't. It's like until something is broke, then they'll make a change to it. But you know what's funny about this whole like meta shift stuff? We've been in this anniversary for like a month or so, and I've seen so many tier lists change in like a week span. It's like, oh, this unit drops. Oh, we got a new top 10, and then another unit drops. Oh wait, hold on, this unit went up. This unit went down. I'm like, man, the meta shift this anniversary has been low key crazy to where like arguably some people would say Super 17 would not be on it, but some people would say he would be. I'll leave the comments to the people on where you guys think they should be, but It's
Oh,
crazy on how it shifts. You know what I mean?
hey, I'm glad you brought that up because when we talk about that, oh my God, I'm gonna tell you, man, just
Oh boy.
one little
Oh
equipment
man,
release made a massive difference in a week, man.
for real. So let's move on and talk about the first new unit of our discussion, which is the Kid Buu Zenkai. So we'll start off with you, Glow, because you're the powerful opponent's main over here, right?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on this unit so far? Did they did a good job with the Zenkai? Is it a hard miss? What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm not farming him just yet because I'm waiting to use that for guild points for Guild Wars that starts next. But from everything I've seen of people using him and like fighting him a bit, I think he's really solid. I
Mm-hmm.
think the three powerful opponent units they did, I'd rank them CMZ 1, Kid Buu 2, and Broly 3. Because CMZ they made just generally good. Broly they made the exact same way he is. He has the lowest floor out of all three of them, but he also has the highest ceiling just because that's the nature of how Broly's kit is.
Mm-hmm.
You give Broly any bit of like wiggle room, anything, like he just goes off. But Kid Buu, I think, is somewhere in between where at worst he is an endurance unit with very good blast damage, a little bit of like disruption and all that. At best, he is shredding through your team if like he goes with the way he wants to play the whole get your vanish, stay on the
Mm-hmm.
field longer and longer. I think because I have his kit open right now. The big changes I've seen so far that mattered probably the most is one, him getting the card and the key on entry.
Yep.
That's definitely helped him be able to start his combos and do things. The other thing is him now lowering card draw speed. I mentioned before, I put it in a tweet a while ago that if they gave him a Zenkai, I did want him to have the ability to lower card draw speed. I would have rather had it like with his timer count stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really solid. I think it's solid already enough that if the opponent's using a card, he does it. Him having the on the vanish, him drawing a card, getting the 15% blast damage, vanish recovery, and the type null, I think that's good too. I
Mm-hmm.
will note when you look at Kid Buu's kit, you see 15% for 10 counts. You think that's not like a lot, but if you look at his kit, he has a lot of stuff that just keeps stacking over and over and over again. And I think that's where like people start to realize like, yeah, Kid Buu, if he gets the opportunity, if you're not type advantage, he's going to get through you. Like he'll just spam the blast. If you watch one of the Goresh's videos, he for his videos like a perfect example. He'll have no cards in hand. He'll
Mm-hmm.
use a green card. He'll do a single side step or charge step, and suddenly has four cards in hand. Because Kid Buu having a base card draw speed and his green card stacking it too, like it gets out of hand really, really fast. And Kid Buu spawns these greens. And on the teams he's on, they spawn greens too. So
So he's
and him having
just a
the
spawning machine when it comes to these greens, huh?
oh yeah, absolutely. Spawning greens, blasts, all that. And at the same time, he also holds a blue card that he also holds a blast card that gives plus 10% damage received for 15 counts. That seems like nothing, but you look at like PO has a lot of damage debuffs. That shit stacks up a lot real quick, really fast. So I think what Kid Buu has in his kit, I like all of it. The only genuine flaws he'd have is one, he's old to the point where he doesn't have a cover change.
Yeah.
Two, he has zero cut pen in his like kit. Like his kit is really good right now due to his equips and his kit. But as time goes on, him not having cut pen is going to hurt him in the future. But right now he's literally just a blue version of Super 17.
Gotcha. And I feel like with the way that they've made this Zenkai, this is how units should be to hold and manage their roles respectively. Because I feel like a lot of these premium units, they do too much of everything. I mean, this Ultimate Gohan is a prime example. He's doing all of this damage inflicting stacking. He's got endurance. He's got power down. How are you going to have one of the best units in the game have the best offenses, but also be equipped with the best defenses? It's like that's the meta is now shifting to these super broken units that just do it all. But I feel like with Kid Buu, the way he's structured is how units that are supposed to do damage should be structured. That's why they should have their own roles, not do everything under the sun. Like his disruption of, draw card art speed, that's good, but it's not like he's destroying cards, removing your vanish, and all of the above that all these other units are doing. But not necessarily meaning that he's bad, because he's still good. He's got great blast damage, and on top of that, he has his own unique equipment that's giving him even more stats on top of what they've already given him with the Zenkai. But it's just, to be a contender for top 5, you gotta be doing it all. And the way that they've made Kid Buu, like, he's great. You can use him. He can do great in the current meta. But, I wouldn't rank him past 5 in my own personal opinion. But, I digress. What do you think, Desla, of this unit overall? Have you ran into him? Do you think that the devs did him justice? What is your opinion on this?
So I personally have actually had the chance to use him quite a fair deal in Proud today on like a like solely Majin Buu Saga team,
Mm-hmm.
which I think Do already made a like showcase on, and I was like, seems pretty interesting. Okay, and I can't lie to you, it's pretty nuts how dominant that comp feels in Proud, because like the trio of him with the 1% like Evil Boo, and then the free play 18 they dropped, the yellow one,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't die. Like it doesn't happen because of the fact that like 1% Boo actually like wipes buff effects if you
Mm-hmm.
try and rush, which means you can just easily go into Kid Buu for the endurance and tank it easily. And the constant healing, supporting, like disruption, you name it, that's happening is crazy. Evil Boo is also fantastic to get rid of units like Ultimate Gohan, Ultra Gohan as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
due to the fact that he has that 30 count endurance null like CMZ does. And then on top of that, you also just get to have the below 3 besides them, which is Shin with Super Vegito and then Ultimate Gohan, and it's just a recipe of disaster where there's really no point where you feel as though you're at a disadvantage, which I don't know. It's probably the strongest comp I've ever ran in Proud. I'm not gonna lie to you,
Interesting.
because I don't know. Like there's really never been a point where I've felt like I'm in danger so far with it anyway. So I'm definitely a big fan so far. But overall, no. In regards to this Kid Boo's individual Zenkai, I definitely think that they did a fine job with him. I definitely think that he gaps Broly, and it's pretty noticeable. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously CMZ is just the anomaly. I don't know what else to tell you. Like he does it all. He's fantastic. He's like probably one of the better snipers we've ever gotten. Period. So
Mm-hmm.
fantastic for that role. But no, overall, I definitely like how they made him. I do wish they made him a little better because on release, if I recall correctly, he was a contender like for best unit in the game. So
Yeah.
I would like it to where he could maybe like stand shoulder to shoulder with like CMZ. I would have liked that, but it's all good. We'll make do. But no, overall, I'm a big fan, and I'm glad that he's at least like good now.
Oh yeah.
As obviously not as good as he used to be, but I doubt that they were gonna make him like anything close to how he was back then, unless they gave him like a divine intervention of a Zenkai. But
Another
whatever,
Platy quip, maybe, who knows? But
maybe.
what's crazy? Like, I've been looking at Twitter, and people have been saying like he feels exactly how he was on release with his Vanish restoration and stuff.
I mean, he definitely has shades of that for sure, because it's like Lo mentioned, like you can have it to where he could be dominant because he's constantly restoring his Vanish, constantly refilling his hand because of the insane amount of card draw that he's stacking on, all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff he's doing to where he can like have very good field presence and control. However, the problem being is that there's some things you can tell they went out of their way to slightly undertune to make it to where he didn't quite have the full keys to the kingdom. If
Yeah.
they didn't undertune some of those things, though, then I would absolutely agree that there's no way around it. He just feels as good as he did back then, while still not being like top 5, which I'm personally okay with. I don't need to have an LF Zenkai be top 5, let alone top 1. But I digress.
Power creep is going way too fast, man. It really needs to slow down.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's crazy. What about you, Madara? What about this Yuta? Have you ran into him? Have you used him? What is your take on this Zenkai Kid Buu?
So for me, I mainly have to judge him based on what I can read and see in showcases. I haven't actually played yet, so I can't say from experience yet. But looking at his kit, he did get quite a few things, to modernize him. Obviously, like you guys previously just said, he's not quite what he used to be. But we also have to remember that back then the game was different, right? Top one unit was FSK, which was all he technically did was damage. And now units like you said, not just do damage, but they do everything. So it's a little harder for him to actually feel like he did because other units are doing so much. So in that sense, A Town had a point. Like he's not gonna exactly feel what he was. On
Yeah.
top of that, though, I do like all the extra things they gave him. Obviously, with this new Proud mode being added, it gives more teams that can have a full set of six to play. It makes him very dominant in that field. On top of that, Blast powerful opponent really needed like the extra glue. So I feel like people that use, androids, for example, they can just slap 17 with this Kid Buu and just go on a killing spree because both of them just do absurd damage. Super 17 has not fallen off as a unit. He still does insane damage. What he really needed was a better partner, and Kid Buu kind of fills that role. Now, on top of that, his green card has always been a big problem for many players because a lot of people just don't know when to stop clicking cards, so they get PV 24/7. And his Kid Buu can still pull that off. I do like the fact that since they added endurance, they made his cut higher. Obviously to give that longevity feeling. It went from 30% to 60% damage received, which makes a big difference. It's literally double, right? On top of that, they did give him some type of uh, he nullifies, the type disadvantage, which is pretty good. That's not for long, but I mean, that still helps. I like that aspect, and then on top of that, I do like the fact that now when he pops his main, he removes every downgrade that he has applied to him. It goes away. That's very important when you're about to hit your main, your ultimate. You want to make sure that you're able to hit as hard as you can. So removing any type of debuff you might have is very important. Overall, I think he's very solid. I do have to play against him to actually see, but I'm pretty sure with the stats he has, because he has great stats. The kit he already has that I'm reading here, and then on top of that, the new equip that they just gave Buu Saga units, and again him being on Buu Saga, the
Yep.
team for Proud mode. This dude is definitely a very good unit, maybe contender for like top 15 or 20
For
overall.
sure. I'm really glad that you made a reference to Proud Mode because I know there's quite a few number of people in the community that really don't like Proud Mode, but that gives another option for players to use a team or a tag that's has a lot of members on it, like PO. Like PO is freaking cluttered. Movies is freaking cluttered. Like Androids, not so much. I mean, you kind of have your core of what you would want to use, but I mean, overall, it gives you more ability to use units that you may favor more. Like for example, we got this anniversary. How many movie units did we just get? We've got, the Gogeta. We've got the Brawly. We've got the Green Godku, which people say he's trash. I don't believe so. I think he's actually great, and a bunch of other
He's
units.
Piscu.
Hey, look, he's not bad. He's just
He's
starting
not
to pick.
bad. He's just not good enough.
We wanted to actually, I forgot. I was gonna emphasize, touch up on what Glow was saying, comparing him to the other two Zenkais. Obviously, um, CMZ is kind of untouchable. I think he set a standard for LF Zenkais that I find it really hard for another unit to hit because let's be real, this dude was trash, bro. Like he was good in LBR when he first dropped. If you guys aren't aware what LBR is,
Yeah.
basically back in the day we used to have these tournaments where everybody just turns on the LBR mode, so we all have 14 stars, maxed out units. International tournaments they take place on Facebook. I know I'm an old man, so I use that app. Anyways, um, he was good there, but like in ranked itself, he was never like him. So then they gave him that plat, which nobody liked because you gave a melee unit something to make him more defensive, and that was never his main issue. His main issue was just that he wasn't doing anything. And then they gave him the Zenkai dude, and he just hits so hard, like so hard. I
Yeah.
think one strike can do like 40% of your health, dude, and it's like so crazy. Because then on top of that, he has that plat still,
Yep.
so he can eat some hits, and he has that disruption with the lowering key and stuff. That dude is a menace, and this Kid Buu can snowball easily just because, like I said, the green cards lets him keep vanishing. Like Lo said, he can stack that card draw. I was watching a gimmick team video by Vara. He was using him with Yajirobe and Yamcha. He always uses that troll team. Dude,
Okay.
that Kid Buu was spawning like 5 cards per sidestep. Like he already had another one queued in. I'm like, damn, bro. You know how toxic that is? You can literally just keep going and going and going. As long as you have a green card, just keep going and going. And right now, the only like super powerful green unit to stop him, quote unquote, is Ultra Gohan. But Kid Buu is a blast unit, so he doesn't have that problem of drawing like too many strikes. So he can keep stalling that out. You could make an argument for Gaku, but like Gaku's
No,
Yeah,
not you
like
too. Come on,
Gaku's like a
man.
USTR unit. But yeah, I mean,
A
we'll talk.
USTR unit?
Oh
that's
We'll
no.
talk about it later.
crazy.
We'll talk
Now,
about that later, guys.
a friend of mine, shout out my boy Duddis, he was saying that when he looks at Gaku compared to like modern LF Zenkais, he said Gaku probably threatens like LF4 Ku for that like position as like best modern LF Zenkai. Because LF4 Ku got like everything he needed on his Zenkai and had a bit more, but like that's essentially what CMZ got. I think if CMZ has like that longevity, I think he might go down as like the best of the modern LF Zenkais.
And that's good. I mean, he deserved it. I always think units that are LFs that drop with no impact kind of deserve for one time to shine. One big
Yeah.
example for again back in my day was Super Saiyan 3. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if you guys
shout out
played when
that.
he dropped. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that dude was
me,
trash, bro. That was the
bro,
worst. That was the worst $1,000 I spent on a unit in my life.
1,000.
bro,
God
me,
dang.
me, Dustin, and Offso, we've been playing this game since day one. So all these metas, we was there. We was
He was
playing,
there.
bro.
Oh god, dude,
OG, when he
oh,
dropped, bro, I remember when
that
I
red kid boo
found
was
out
better, huh?
Kid Buu was way, bro. When SS3 dropped, I was actually like soul boosting every unit. I was scrapping together every single CC. I heard my boy saying, "Yo, this nigga trash. He's dog shit." I said, "I don't care." It's one of my favorite scenes in the series of all time. I'm gonna get me a copy, bro. I think I maxed out Kid Buu before my first SS3 copy. That shit was ass.
I mean, remember back then, pulling an LF was
Yeah,
0.25%.
yeah. That's back when they had the shitty rates, and it was 600 Z power each time, bro. It was oh
Mm-hmm.
my god.
Yeah, and then you spend
That
like all that just to get an underwhelming unit. That's freaking crazy.
bro, it was hell back then.
We tried to cope him on so many teams. I remember I ran him with that EX Krillin. I'm like, oh, death buffs.
That's what I'm saying. Bro, you saw every single time we had a Goku, you see either Bugs or Rice or D Free spamming EX Krillin videos. I'm like, come on, dog. You go like y'all doing him like they used to do future Gohan with the card draw speed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
bro. I was like, oh, and like, no, bro. Like, he didn't get to shine on release, and then he just became the best unit in the game when he Zenkai. Honestly, I know people will always say FSK was still the best there, but again, if you played both of them maxed out, Saiyans with Super Saiyan 3, Plat G4, and Andrew Vegeta was just unkillable, man. Like really, really unkillable. Like,
They were
yeah,
worse than Regen, bro.
no,
Honestly.
yeah, for real. I mean, and that's the thing I liked. I think that was a very diverse meta. We had the hybrids, we had these Saiyans, and then region we had this Kid Buu that just got Zenkai'd. We had the Demon King Pickle and the LF Piccolo. Still worked
Mm-hmm.
pretty well. But
Yeah.
one unit I wish had this opportunity was Majin Vegeta, but uh,
Yeah,
his
they
chances
gave up
are
boy
gone, of
dead.
course. Yeah, his
Sad.
chances are gone, of course. He already got his
Actually,
Zenkai.
I think that if he gets a second LF plat, if it's like at least up to like what the modern units have, I think he's straight.
You think
You
so?
know, I mean, yeah, I mean, I could see it. It's just like as time progresses, like these units just get so absurd that like the plat will basically just be another Zenkai, kind of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's crazy. I can't think of any other LF that's gotten done that bad. Like even Forku, like he redeemed himself when he got Zenkai. Majin Vegeta got a Zenkai and didn't even see relevance that much.
I
Um,
mean, Rose was weird. It was like on release, every NA player hated him. JP glazed him to the moon and back.
that's
I
the
don't know what
thing.
was with
Like
them.
the thing with Rose is like, okay, I can accept his Zenkai was very like he was a drop combo merchant, right?
Yeah,
Uh, but again, like for ranked, yeah, sure, he was always ass. I'm not even gonna cap for ranked. But again, if you played LBR tournaments and the team I just mentioned of Saiyans, 3Ku, before G4 got his plat, it was 3Ku, it was Namek, and it was Angel. You
mhm.
ran CMZ, Future Gohan, and either this Rose or VB. But this Rose was one of the only units that could take down that team because that bleed stacked. He obviously had color advantage over the 3Ku, which was the tankiest unit there.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, he was really good in LBR.
Yeah.
That's it though. But
And
yeah,
if
for
you,
ranked, he was garbage.
yeah, if you got enough FG support and you're able to like get a nice blue card on FG on like Halo, it would help a lot too.
Yeah, that was the only time I could make an argument for him. I couldn't defend him on his Zenkai just because, like, again, drop combo merchant. Unless your opponent just keeps swapping for no reason, you're not really gonna do that much. Kind of the same, and it's kind of like a thing with rosés. I don't know why they do that. Remember the Ultra rosé? Like, yeah, he was annoying, but then he
Yeah.
faded into oblivion
I
because he has
hated
the
him.
same
I
issue.
hated him so much, dude.
Yeah, because you had MVP. That nigga was frying your shit.
No, not even. No, it wasn't even just that. But Androids was so much in the mud that I just hated him so much.
Bro, it was
Like,
bad.
like fifth anniversary, I was stuck using MVP, Red Cell, and fucking Shallot because I had no one else.
Bro,
Shallot.
You
Oh
had,
my
Opso
had
was
to
on
gosh.
manage
his
over
fucking
everything.
deathbed, bro.
That's an
Hey,
agreed.
dude. Hey, dude. At least they don't counter your second favorite character like they do with my boy Vegito, man.
I am a
Actually,
bit.
that's literally when I quit the game again. Like literally last anniversary, I came back. I spent like 3.5 bands on UVB. Then they dropped freaking Janemba like 2 months later, and
Yo, shout out my boy Janumba.
dude,
It's
I'm
still
not
great
gonna
to
lie
this
to you
day.
guys. I suffered a severe case of skill issue. I couldn't get over that gauge, bro. I was like, oh my god. And Billy kept trying to tell me to use that EX Goku. He's been copying it for like years. And I was like, bro, I only have him 2 stars. I'm not using EX Goku. I had no green to eat that Janemba ult. I literally just left the game. I left the game for a year, bro.
Yo, I do with these LF Zenkai though. I will say we're getting to the point where like some of these LF Zenkai, I think it's gonna be harder and harder for them to like hold back on certain kits. Like
Yeah.
Broly and CMZ were older. Like CMZ, I don't think anybody expected CMZ to get this good. But now we're starting to get to like the point like we're starting to hit like the next LF Zenkais are like Revhon, GB, MUI, Tag Droids, the OG LF Cell. Like we're starting to hit like more and more recent units. It's like even FG, it's like these units get their Zenkais. Like, how good are they really gonna be?
Meta reset. That's how good they're
I'm
gonna be.
I'm scared for future Gohan, dude, because I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna cope him. I'm not gonna tell him he's straight ass yet, but the support he still provides to this day. Now imagine that with Zenkai stats
Yeah.
and modern support. That dude is hey, that dude they could easily make that dude top 10. Let's not even, beat around the bush.
Top
He could
10. They
easily
can
be
make him
top 10.
top three.
Yeah, like it's
They
it's
can
it's
make him
so risky, and I hope they don't do it anytime soon because hybrid just pisses me off, dude. How freaking busted it gets all the time. I can't complain because again, I use Fusion Warriors, so like I can't complain.
Now, I think you have.
But
I think you have plenty of room to complain, considering Fusion Warriors only gets buffs like once or even twice a year.
oh, you
When
want to know the
when
funny
hybrids
part?
could be like monthly.
You want to know the funny part? So my original like main team was Super Saiyans because my favorite characters are Broly and Vegito. And the only team I could cope them together in back in the day was Super Saiyans. They both share that tag, Super Vegito, Super Saiyan Broly. Unfortunately, though, as we guys know, Super Saiyan is a dead tag. So the closest thing I could use to that was basically Fusion Warriors because at least we have, Super Gogeta, we have Super Vegito, even freaking Gotenks, bro. I freaking hate Gotenks, but
Bro.
we had that transforming Gotenks, so I had to cope something. But yeah, now that the leader slot is here, I can basically just make random stuff. But
Yep.
not a fan of it though. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. But we'll
It
see
is
how the
fine.
meta changes with as they progress through and make some of these less older units more get their Zenkais and I don't know if it's gonna overtake the Ultra Gohan because it seems that he's still clinging to like the top 2, top 3 spot. But again, we'll see how all that shifts. But Obsta, what do you think of this Kid Buu overall? Have you ran into him at all? I know you don't use him because you're an Android mate, but what do you think of his
Do
overall presence?
you want me to be so for real about him?
Go for it.
Him getting a Zenkai, I don't mind because that just means Cell's coming soon.
Oh, this
Uh-oh.
man.
Ultra Cell on the way?
Nah, I
Yo,
mean
hold on.
like Zenkai LF Cell, like the old one.
Oh.
But I'll be completely fine if we get an Ultra Cell.
He might drop on a random Tuesday just like the Ultra Gohan did, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Ultra Gohan dropping with no like fanfare, no stream, just a fucking YouTube premiere.
Yep. You just get a tweet and it's like, what trailer is this? Wait, hold on. Is that the best unit in the game? Hold on.
An anniversary like level unit getting just a monthly Ultra release.
My gosh. So overall, I think this Kid Buu has really shooken up the meta for sure. It's bringing back the blast-based PO teams. Super 17 now has a dedicated partner to run with, and also Nappa Vegeta as well. They're also a very good unit to pair with this team because they're also blast-based. So I can see that being. Hey, what? No, you didn't. No way.
I definitely forgot. I mean, I have them on my list, but I forget they existed. Like
Forgot who.
Nappa
Nappa Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Bro, that's on
Yeah,
Kid
same.
Boo's best team. Super 17, Kid Buu, Nat Geo.
I know
Yeah.
I forgot he existed, bro. That's not like
Yo,
there was a
Dang.
third unit on that team. What was?
bro, you barely see them though.
Yeah.
I just slapped Golden Frieza.
I mean,
Yeah,
Golden Frieza can be too.
Yeah, Golden Frieza definitely works out. I think Golden Frieza is definitely better than Nap Vegeta. It's just I like having the third blast unit because if you're gonna do that, you can run the Shenron pure.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Awesome. All right, so next let's move on to the Ultra Plat for the Omega. Any GT mate? Actually, no. We'll start off with you, Desla, because I know you love GT. What do you think of this Omega Plat?
I was honestly very surprised with how much they gave him. I was like, wow, okay. The only gripe I have with it, if I'm being very fair, or I guess, I don't know, critical, whatever, is just that I would have preferred it if he also wiped buff effects on like Rush as well.
Mm-hmm.
If it basically happened like that, that would essentially mean that he's like a slightly better Bomku, pretty much in terms of like being the tank for GT, because he'd be able to eat basically anything confidently and has like still the highest amount of HP restore from an endurance proc. Period. Because the highest we'd seen before that I think was 40%. I forget which unit it was though, but the highest we'd seen was 40. Now with it being 50, I mean, this is a free ultra for God's sake. Like, I can guarantee you, it's only going to get higher and higher as time goes on because that's just how the nature of this game is. But overall, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with how he performed for me. I used him like the first day or so this season, and I ran him with Bomb Q and Baby, and I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, there were numerous times where I just was constantly surprised by the amount of damage that a tank was doing. I was
Wow.
like, wow, okay. Like that blue card can hit hard and it does AoE damage on top of that. So it's inflicting damage on obviously standby members as well.
Mm-hmm.
But overall I'm definitely a big fan. And if this is the price that they're gonna set for like the free plats, then I can't even imagine premium.
Oh
That's all
man.
I'm saying. So I hope that if they continue down the rabbit hole of free plats for these ultras, that Super Saiyan's next for Namek, please, I pray to God, and they make it snapped. I need it to be nuts because that unit is too raw as a free character to not like have the craziest resurgence of all time. I'm praying. I'm manifesting it right now as we speak.
I mean, you hear him, devs. You make it happen. Make it
More Sun
happen.
family buffs. Yeah.
Hey, I'm always here for it, man. Make it happen.
But like for the overall core for GT, does this Omega now take a spot, or is this Proud only?
Right now, I would say that it's up in the air, and we're waiting to see what part 3 drops before we'd say anything conclusive. Because right now, he's depending upon, in particular, a like green or purple GT affiliated character who's obviously the ultra pick for part 3 dropping.
Mm-hmm.
That is more so melee based than blast based. And at that point, I'd say that it's pretty like blatant or clear that Super 17 is just kicked off core because
Dang.
we've now had to where Baby is very melee based. Omega can build either way, but I mean, you can make a melee based and it'll be just fine and dandy. But and then Bomb Q, I would like to say, sides more with melee in my experience, but that's just me. But no, obviously, I do hope that this new Ultra has some kind of defensive utility to where he maybe has like I don't know revival, comeback, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, my personal pick out of the bunch that I think makes the most sense because I just don't see the alternative happening now. I just think it's too soon. That we would actually get a full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku that like goes on ahead and goes to the ritual to transform with all of his different offspring, Trunks, Pan, Gohan, Goten, whatever.
Yeah.
And
And
Oop.
yeah. Well, he doesn't really contribute, but whatever. Uh, I'm more
Hey,
so
chill, my
looking
boy.
at just having to get to finally see that like red outline aura in game finally because I'm still miffed that they didn't give it to the like second anniversary one that is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be in full power because I know damn well on Ultra it's going to look real good, but whatever. We'll have to see. And also, he has the potential to have probably the best ink art in the game, just straight up, because that transformation sequence for that form is just dead ass beautiful. So there's that. But no, I'm definitely hoping that it's him because he's like my most anticipated unit this year by a mile. It's not close. Um, and I just think it makes more sense to do over Gogeta right now because I think it's wiser to save Gogeta like Super Saiyan 4 for Fest instead.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. We'll see what they go with. But if I had to place my cards in the deck down right now and say what I'm like anticipating or hoping for, it's definitely going to be full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who's either green or purple and has some kind of either revival, comeback, whatever it may be, who can revive into full power or come back into full power, and is able to make GT more cohesive, more melee based, to where Omega can actually flourish on it better.
Well, it sounds like this is definitely going to be the year of GT then, if they drop this on part three, and then Omega can slide himself into the for one of the six in Proud, from what it sounds like here. Because, I mean, GT's got a lot of power hitters. Like you've got the Ultra Spirit Bomb Goku, you got Super 17, which you mentioned kicking him off the core, almost got me a heart attack. Cause I'm like, ain't that the best GT unit they got right now?
Currently, yeah, I would say so. But actually, no, I give it to Baby personally. But
Oh, okay. Why did I forget about Baby? Damn, I'm
yeah,
crazy.
well, you never see him in Q, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I wish
I
it my
fixed that
Q.
problem. Yeah,
My
I
Q,
fixed
because
that
my
problem
Q just
personally.
keeps seeing him.
Yeah, nah, I would love to see him more. He's very fun. But no, I mean, I'm in the boat where again, me personally, like I'm just praying they make this ultra like more disruptive or annoying so that it just pairs perfect with Baby to where
Mm-hmm.
you literally can't do anything to them. Like I personally got so much enjoyment out of finding out how annoying Shim was in practice to where you can just literally blast card and then like immediately chain a strike into it and you just get to watch your opponent like float there and do nothing because everything's sealed for them. Like something like that will just bring me immense joy. So I don't know. I'm hoping they make this ultra very annoying, but we'll see.
They will. I mean, power creep, right? That's how the game pretty much goes. But we'll go ahead and move on to you, Madara. Have you had a chance to look at the Ultra equip for the Omega Shenron?
Yeah, I was actually looking at it as you guys spoke as well, just to make sure I understood everything here. But I mean, this is basically like a mini Zenkai in a way. You know, they basically gave him endurance on the plat, which is pretty
Wild.
wild to me. And then like 50% on top of that. I think yeah, it is the highest we've ever gotten on a endurance unit.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I do like the fact that he does damage. I have been watching these showcases and he hits pretty hard, like Desla said. And on top of that is AoE damage, so you know everybody's getting cooked if you're not a blue. On top of that, actually, Desla, I agree with a lot of what you said. Despite Super 17, you know, I hated Super 17 by the way because he was really annoying. But I actually think he gets kicked off the GT core because GT core is pretty much
Wow.
strike based, and this unit can be built either way. The other one cannot. The other one has to be blast based, right? So you can just slap this guy with Baby and then even Bomb Coup right there. That you have a set team right there. I do believe one removes buffs, so even if you get rushed by Vegito per se, you can still eat it because you know the buffs are removed, so you don't get your endurance nullified. Having two endurances is actually crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Both hitting hard, and then that Bomb Coup when his gauge is full, I believe he locks you in, takes your vanish. The green card can be very annoying. Baby, a lot of people that are probably listening, I don't know, you guys probably sleep on Baby, but that dude is really annoying to fight. I'm actually glad that you don't run into him in the ladder because that's really annoying to fight. You might even forget that he takes your vanish and stuff like that. I think locking in with his ult is also crazy.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I really like this plat. It's set up a standard now though for future plats. Despite me not liking the fact that Sun Family gets a lot of buffs, I still agree with the fact that I hope that Namek gets a really good plat. My favorite moment in Dragon Ball Z is when Goku became a Super Saiyan for the first time. So I would really like to see that Ultra shine, and actually shine on a regular team, not Super Saiyans, because again, Super Saiyans being gimmicky is not super reliance because if Bardock gets sniped, you just go back to being the basic team. And even the fireworks Vegeta. I
Yeah.
really think I want to see him in action. I just think Vegeta needs love in general, man. Vegeta has not been getting that much love in this game at
Vegeta
all.
Clan. They don't like Vegeta Clan, man.
They just don't. More specifically, Vegeta, because like we've had some good Trunks units and stuff like that, but like Vegeta himself, I if I can count the amount of good Vegeta, like actual Vegeta units we've had, I think the last one was probably that the LF Green Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Yeah, because
So
this is a Nappa. Yeah, like I'm not counting Nap Vegeta because that's literally a Nappa unit. Let's be real, that's a Nappa unit. Which is crazy. Nappa's better than Vegeta. That Super Vegeta, I don't think he's absolute garbage. I just think he's like underwhelming for modern. You know, if
yeah,
he might have dropped last year, he probably would have been like amazing. But for this year, he's definitely underwhelming. But he can still catch you lacking with enough support. So, but let me stick to the topic. I'm going off screen.
I know you're
This
good.
plat is very good. I really like it. Like I said, it does set a good standard for future equips. I just wish they were consistent with equips like this for LFs as well. My favorite unit in this game that I've been trying to cope for the past month is LF Vegito Blue, and he got the worst equip I've seen in my life. I wish he got something like this because we waited for that equip for literally 3 years, and we got something so bad that dude, I was trying to cope him so bad, and he's not even top 30. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, Glow said in the previous episode they don't want that. They don't want that Vegito to be good anymore at
They
all.
don't. I was actually coping with Glow. I was like, Glow, top 10, please make it happen.
Yo, it's not gonna let you lie like that.
We
I was
can't do
like trying
this.
so bad. I was making posts on Twitter. I'm like, oh, yeah, actually he can snipe me with his ult, so be careful. But I was like, nah, I was coping so bad, bro. He's so bad. So I wish they would have given something like this to him. But again, if they give this to free to play ultras, great. But I'm also scared because if they give something like this to say Ultra Gogeta Blue, even Ultra Super Gogeta and Ultra Super Vegito, it can become a problem. You know.
Yeah, isn't Ultra Super
So
Gogeta next? Like from the
no.
actually the.
We don't know if he'll get it or they'll finish the free to play ones first and then go to him.
And here's my thing though too, like I remember Toshi mentioned that they were working on this equip like what 2 years ago.
This took
Yeah.
2 years in the making. That's wild.
Yeah, because he mentioned that at Battle Hour, but it wasn't the last one. It was I think the one before that.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of wild because that might mean that all the other plats are ready and we're not ready for it. Like, you know what I mean? If this game is even alive in 2 years from now, but we'll see. But yeah, overall, just to answer your question, I do think it's a very great plat. It's basically a mini Zenkai. Made this unit relevant, super relevant to the point. Like again, he's literally kicking Super 17 out his one of his main teams, which is GT. Not just for proud mode, I'd say even for standard. I wish he had better Zenkai buffers. If I'm being real with you, I'm hoping even region gets more strike based units because that can also become a thing. So yeah, let's wait for LF another Ultra Cell or something.
Hey, we'll
Let's see what
see.
happens, man.
We
Yeah.
will
I'm
definitely see what
waiting.
happens. Speaking of ultra cells and stuff, let's go to you, Opsto. What do you think of this ultra equip? Do you think this affects Omega Shenron placement and agree with the others, or is it still bench?
Oh, he's absolutely a very, very, very usable unit to the point where I do say that he kicks Super 17 off of GT, like as core. But another thing about it is that I hope that this hints that what we're getting for part 3 is GT related, because I'm always happy to see GT in the meta, because the only times they've ever been toxic is when a Super 17 comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're like the most untoxic team ever to fight, and it's always fun. They never
Uh,
have like they're almost never toxic. I don't have to deal with some bullshit like fucking Ultra Super Geneva.
My
Like
goodness.
especially at his height, I don't have to deal with that shit. I don't have to deal with bullshit like Ultra Goku Black because they're just not toxic.
hey man, I don't know. Their original release was pretty toxic. You remember? Or the OG double
Well, like
fours and baby. Oh my god,
oh,
that was
Yep.
I thought you meant even earlier than that with like the green Super Saiyan Goku.
oh no no. But I do remember the green Super 17. The unit was so fun to remember.
But even then, like the original fours weren't very toxic at all. It was Baby who was toxic, but only when he was on regen with a Fat Boo.
Mm-hmm.
But back
Yeah.
then, the fours and Baby, they were good. They were still by far the best team in the game and by far the best units in the game. But at least other units had a chance to catch up with them because they weren't toxic.
Yeah, and they didn't just
Yeah,
blow out all the other teams. Like
They
Vegeta
didn't.
Clan was still a
No,
thing.
that is true.
Movies
That is true.
Trinity still existed.
like I'd say that's arguably the best meta we've ever had because so many teams were so
Yeah.
incredibly good.
Like Vegeta
And
Clan was an actual team back then too.
Oh, reminiscing. Vegeta Clan team.
When it was called Vegeta Family.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Remember Vegeta
But
Family?
Oh man.
but going back to the plat, like it's such a surprise to see like a free to play Ultra get this treatment, especially because of I always thought that the three free to play Ultras we got were done absurdly like terribly, especially because of so they're free to play units, so they're obviously going to tone them down a little bit. Problem being is that they were good. Like their kits when you initially read them were good. Problem is that how they release them to the point where you were just drip fed Z power for them to where if you, like when you finally get them to a high enough star level to actually be like useful and decent in PvP, they've already aged out.
Power crap.
Like they've already aged out because they just drip fed like their Z power over the course of like 3 months. And by then, because they're free to play units and that they were toned down a little bit, they're not going to be usable anymore.
And then we got the Ultra Super Gogeta that eclipsed the
Yeah, and
meta.
then yeah, and then we got Ultra Super Gogeta, who's still arguably the best design Ultra we've ever gotten, along with the other Gogeta who came out a year later.
And we're about to
Like
get
like
another one.
like even then, like I'd still consider like the only thing Ultra Super Gogeta really needs right now is just Cut Pen. If he gets that and a little bit more damage, he'll be back, which is probably what his equip is going to give him, knowing what the Omega equip gave him. It gave him fucking God.
Yeah. Buff
He
removal,
he found a
endurance.
religion and it gave him power.
Oh my gosh.
Good goodness. Well, it's crazy to see that the group is saying that he replaces Super 17. When
Well, it's because he's a strike, or you can build him whatever the fuck you want. While Super 17 is on a historically strike-based team. That's not going to work when he's a blast-based unit. Of course, he's still going to be like the de facto red on androids because they've historically been a blast team,
mm-hmm.
but not GT.
Hey, well, Super 17, go ahead and get to the back of the bus. What about you, Glow? Do you agree with everybody here on his placement of the Ultra equipped for Omega, or is he not as good as everybody says he is?
I agree with half of what y'all said. I think he's a good unit. I think he is good, but I don't think he kicks off Super 17. I think he forces GT to split in half. I think that when I look at his equip, it's like Madara said, this is essentially a mini Zenkai. But at the same time, I've been saying this. What they're doing with GT is what they did with Universe Reps last year. They want one team to be the main theme of this year. GT is going to be the main theme of this year. That's why GT got 3 units before Annie. They're going to get a buff this Annie, which is going to be the Ultra. And I'm guaranteeing, this is my prediction, they're going to get a buff for 2 buffs for Festival 2, which I think are going to be LF Omega and Ultra G4. Because I think this one's going to be Forku. But what I see with this Omega Plat, like, this Omega Plat is one, a GT buff. Two, it's also a precursor to how these plats are gonna be done for future units. But like
Mm-hmm.
when you look at his plat, it is essentially a mini Zenkai. I think it's amazing. I think the fact that you gave him that initial card draw speed level, you gave him buffs and the damage he needed. You gave him disruption on cover change. You gave him cards and key on entry. You gave him the ability to cancel out buff effects on the enemy rush. You gave him endurance. Like they gave him all the things he needed. I think what he does is now GT is now moving more blast based. I think that Strike GT, well, GT is now split off into a Strike and blast based team. Strike GT is going to be comprised of Omega, Baby, and whatever this Ultra is. I think this Ultra is going to be Strike based, and that's what's going to fill out Strike based GT. I think Blast based GT is instead going to be Super 17 USB and possibly another buff or another unit that comes.
Mm.
Possibly, and this is like honestly, I think they're going to give like Blast based. What's going to happen, and this is just my theory for part 3, is that they're going to make the Ultra is going to be strike based. They're going to give a 1% Zenkai. That 1% Zenkai for GT is going to be blast based. And from the options GT has right now, I think it's probably going to be like honestly either Majub, Ice, or what's it called? The OG Green Super Saiyan Kid Goku. Like I think one of them is going to get a Zenkai, and that'll fix for Blast GT because I think Super 17 is the better unit. I think Strike GT is more. I want to say cohesive, but Strike GT has one big issue, and it's really just key.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like Omega's key, even though he gets key on entry, his key recovery is dog shit. Baby's car not having as much car cost reduction as he should have can sometimes eat at the key you have. So they need like more so a key battery, which I hope that like the Ultra is. But I think this plat is very good for Omega. I think the precedent it sets is definitely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I was talking like Madara was saying, like, and also mentioned like some of these ultras, they don't need a lot. Like USG, if I'm looking at what like his kit is, like, what does USG need? USG probably needs like what would he even
That
say?
dude needs Jesus, bro.
Honestly, hold on. I remember writing this down because I was just bored at work one day and I was just like, let me go through all these ultras. What do they need? Like USG, he would need damage inflicted, one like an increase in card draw speed because he has no base card draw speed. USG has no base card draw speed. Either give him natural +1 or give him ability to get it on a green card. Give him like maybe card cost reduction or key on entry. Give him because his whole point is he's supposed to be like a snipe unit when you lose characters. I guess give him cut pen or and damage increase when you lose your allies.
Wait,
That way, when he
did you say that USG didn't have the card draw speed?
yeah, he has no base card draw speed.
Yeah, he does.
He
I'm
does.
reading his kit right now. He does.
I mean, sorry.
I had to fact check this.
Hold on, does he?
Is this a debate?
Bro thinks it's the debate from last night.
Oh, he
Oh,
does.
God.
He does. All right, yeah. He needs one more level. Sorry. Then he needs one more level of card draw
Like,
speed.
bro,
Just
I
have
was
him.
about to say.
Sorry, then that's on me. Give him like another level on like green card for like 15 counts. Because for the type of unit he is, plus just normal +1 isn't enough.
15 sound like a really long time.
Yeah. 15, you'd be surprised. 15, I mean, if he gets it on his green, I guess it works out for him because he's supposed to fill up his gauge. But you have to remember, when he does that, it does clog up his hand with blue cards. So it's not going to last forever.
Mm.
So, like, USG can get that. Like, USV, I guess what all he really needs is, like, really just defense. All he really needs is stats. Just give him, like, better defense and, like, a bit better offense. He doesn't need too much for his. Like his kit is nothing too crazy. Like that needs real help. Broly, they need to actually decide what the hell they want Broly to be. Either they want him to be offensive or they want him to be a bulk unit like Baby. And I'd rather have them just make him a bulk unit like Baby. So I guess just make his gauge actually do something and not just be shit. That's really it. Like Kaioken, fuck off. I don't care what they do with that unit.
Vanish restoration, even more vanish restoration.
I hope his plat
Even
makes
more
him worse,
cards,
if
like-
anything.
Yo,
Oh,
same.
man.
Same.
Like fuck that unit. Like hit honestly doesn't need anything. He's a mod. He's really like solid for his kit. I guess just give him a bit better defense. Like a lot of these are like Kid Buu doesn't really need too much. Rose doesn't need too much, but like the first three, they need help. USV, USG, Broly, they need something. They need a plot of this better than like what Omega got. But Omega's plot, I think it does spell out good things for the game. And I think it also does push back Ultra Zenkais.
Well, we'll have to see exactly what they come up with, depending on who they have in line, and then also the release schedule of these
Yeah.
ultra plats as well. So we'll see how.
And
all
also,
that goes.
and one more thing. Now, like what we normally call plats are technically called unique equipments, which is weird because I never realized this. But yeah, well, the black ones, those are technically unique equipments. This new stuff Omega has, that's technically a plat. So it feels weird now that I have to call that a plat, and there are other ones unique equipments.
Yeah, may have to change our verbiage around. I might just call them ultra equipments overall, since they're specified for ultras.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of platinum equip, we still have the Defiant Gohan to talk about, which is the Majin Buu Saga specified equip. We won't spend too much time on here because I mean we already know what this is doing. It's making Gohan better. It's giving up to 15% health, 30% to both defenses base, and then 25% to both strike and base blast attack. So we'll start off with you, Madara. Is this equip needed?
Oh my god, this thing was not needed, bro. Oh man. So later when we get into the tier list, I'll tackle this a little more because this actually changed a lot of the placements I had for my list.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you said, man. Like it's not even a matter of just power creep. Like a simple equip like this can change so many things.
Yep.
Gohan, as we know, is it's just him. Like he does so much damage for no reason. He has like that mini. He basically has like Dragon Fist, man. You know, where he removes your vanish and then can just hit you as hard as possible with that raw ultimate. When he's facing himself, though, like at least he can cancel the endurance null, so like you can kind of eat the ult without no issues. But if the opponent doesn't have ultimate Gohan or somebody that can cancel that buff effect, they're pretty much dead. You know, the unit that swaps in or just takes it is pretty much dead. So you always have a guaranteed kill with that. On top of that, those green cards that he could just pull out his butt and just bunch of blues. Like the other day, actually, now that I forgot that I actually the other day, one of my friends was working overtime and he wanted me to help him maintain God rank. So I played for like an hour for him, and I was using this Gohan, and all I fought was Gohans. And this one dude literally shot, bro. I shit you not, bro. He used 3 blue cards in a row. Then he used the green card. He rushed me, and I tried to guess like blast or something, and he still had 3 more blues in that rush.
That's ridiculous.
I wish I recorded that because that literally made no sense to me. Because this unit just, he doesn't hold a blue card or a green card, but he just spams him like nothing. Da da da. And then you pair him with Ultimate with Ultra Gohan, and it's just annoying. So this plat basically made it worse because what he was lacking was defenses, which is why I kind of valued Gogeta a lot because Gogeta can just basically snowball this unit. But now he has more bulk, so unless you're an actual yellow that does damage, he can kind of also eat your hits as well. That green card does heal, so having a 15% HP on just the equipment basically gives him a lot of sustainability. And then they just added more offenses, which he didn't need. So like this was not necessary. I think this might have been good down the line when he started to quote unquote age out and maybe make it unique for him or something. But this was really not necessary, man. Like this just basically gave it to him, and they gave this to Super Vegito as well, who didn't need it. He's also like a super high ranked unit. Every unit that can use this besides Kid Buu did not need it. That's all I gotta say.
Like Vegeta Clan, you could have done that to them, but said nope. We're just gonna give it to units that just came out on the 6th anniversary as if they needed this shit. But we digress.
Vegeta Clan needs more than the equips.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna need a whole refresher, facelift.
I don't think Vegeta Clan is that far off. From what I've seen with Lucy, it's like they're actually not that bad. Like if you can run Napjita, SV, and like that third isn't that hard to like run. Like you can run Bulla, like who SV?
Like
because like you're running a.
No, I just laugh because SV's like it's like that meme where it's like he don't belong there. Like, bro, that's not.
Oh yeah,
like these ain't Vegeta.
It's like that polar bear in Arlington shit. You forget he's on Vegeta Clan. Like I've seen Lucifero. He runs that shit. He runs
He can run both fusions, I guess, at that point with some people were running that double fusions with Napjita.
Yeah,
which I mean, if you want to call that as your Vegeta Clan team, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but like
it's
sorry, my bad.
Yeah. No, you good. You good. I think we're gonna say the same thing. Like, it's a solid team. It's just not cohesive as other teams.
Yeah, it's not like when I hear Vegeta Clan, I think like Vegeta units and his actual family members. Because when you see Sun Family, you're not running like Gogeta and stuff. Like you're literally running either Gohans or Gokus or a mixture of both. But Vegeta Clan doesn't have that luxury anymore, man. It's always like a tag unit or an assist unit. It's never just actually Vegeta or
that's
Trunks.
Why they're good.
And that's why they're never good. People suck. Oh man, bro. I think their peak was literally when you guys were mentioning Prime GT. I think we had that transforming Vegeta, that transforming Trunks, and I forgot the third unit, but that was like the only time like an actual Vegeta Clan team was like, oh, it's actually Vegeta family. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and get just a round vote in this room regarding on the equip for the Majin Buu saga, which we already know everybody is using the equip for the top 2 units. Glow, was this equip needed for Gohan or no?
Oh fuck no.
Opso, yes, no.
It wasn't needed for Gohan, but I'm using it on the free-to-play 18.
Hey, that's actually a plus. Yeah, you could use it on her. Wow. Why does she keep slipping my mind? I don't know what it is. And then Desla, would you think this equip was needed?
Yes, because Majin Buu Saga is now a very fun Proud Mode team.
Oh yeah, because you were just testing it out too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, I'm very curious to see on what this top 10 list is going to be. So, as you guys know, for the listeners, we are at the last episode for the month. So, you know what that means. We're going to be going over another tier list. Now, as you guys have seen previously, we'll have the group tier list representing the Rising Rush podcast after the episode has aired. So, stay tuned on the social media platforms for that. But for this segment, we're going to actually go over Madara's list. So he's going to go over briefly his honorable mentions, and then we're going to go through his top 10 and say if we agree or disagree, and then he's going to give us a breakdown from 5 and up on why they're at their placement in there today. So I will pass the bucket over to you, Madara, and you could take it away with your list.
All right, guys, I'm about to get on the grill, so get ready to eat some prime steak right now. All right.
I'm
Let's
waiting
just-
to see. I'm waiting to see if one unit is on this.
Yo,
So
I
first,
hate
like I mentioned, I'm gonna go over quick honorable mentions. So these are units not necessarily bad; they're pretty good. It's just that they either A, got replaced on their team, two, aren't super built yet to be in the top 10. So let me start from the bottom up, right? So I have Feedku here. Like, all right, Feedku is super bulky. He's great, probably one of the best in Proud mode. Unfortunately, I'm going with Standard mode when it comes to this tier list. So I want to put that out there, right? This is for Standard mode. I don't play Proud mode. I hate Proud mode. I think it takes too long, and if somebody disconnects, you lose RP. So waste of time. So I have him at the bottom. Then I have my God, I hate putting this guy here. PyCon Gogeta. I've hated this unit ever since he dropped because he dropped after I quit the game and I needed somebody to tank for Janemba. But anyways, I just think he's not really that great, man. I just see him literally as Rising Rush fodder. He doesn't do damage. He doesn't really take hits that well. He's just there. And then most of the time, the problem I have with PyCon specifically is that gauge might not even fill up. With how much damage units are doing, he might die, revive before filling that up. So that kind of goes out the way. And then again, even with the best equips, I have him with the best equips that he can possibly run. He just doesn't do it for me. Then I have Omega. Again, Omega with this plat, super good unit. He just needs one more thing. He needs one more member on his team. And I think what Glow was saying that if they drop an Ultra for GT that's strike based, I can definitely see him jumping up just depending on what color that unit is and how it functions. Then I have Nap Vegeta. Nap Vegeta's in HM. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. Nap Vegeta's just here. I'm putting him in HM. Then I have Bombku as well. GT is, for me, GT is in the mud if I compare it to everything else. Then I have Beerus in HM. The only reason I even have him here is I'm not really impressed with what I've seen about him. I just don't think God Key as a team is it's like menacing enough. So I mean, he's even lucky to be here if I'm being real with you. So now we're entering the top 4 of HM, and I have Super 17 here. Now Super 17 as an individual unit, still amazing. I just feel his best team is Androids, and Androids is in the mud right now. He can easily make it back once they get really good units. So don't sleep on him. Then I have this Evo Buu that dropped, really good disruptor. I just don't like his color being green because the best unit in the game is purple right now. So that kind of loses him some points. Obviously Kid Buu, he's a very good contender. We talked about him at the start of this podcast. He's a very good unit. That Zenkai really did a lot for him. Still needs a little bit more. Obviously, once Region maybe gets another unit that can pair well with him, we'll see where he goes. Now, this other character that I'm putting at the top of HM, he's only here because he shares a Sun Family tag. And right now, Sun Family is in the position where they already have an endurance unit, possibly a revival if you want to go ahead and use that, revival Gohan. But honestly, you have 2 endurance units. And then with this guy being Bardock Goku with an indestructible, they're very hard to kill. So you might have a Rising Rush, but with Gohan removing those buffs, it's really hard to rush them and kill them. So that's the only reason he's here. But now let's actually tackle the top 10. All right, so I'm about to get cooked for this, all right?
Get ready.
All right. So at the bottom, number 10, I have Shin. Now, I wasn't a fan of Shin. I was actually slandering him hard on Twitter. I'm pretty sure Glow saw that. I hated Shin, dude. I actually thought he was garbage. But I've seen more gameplay with him, specifically in the tournament scene, where people make better use of him. He's actually very good. And Godkey, they got recent buffs. Again, they're not the most menacing team out there, but it's functional. And Shin just, he's really annoying. Like he can actually like basically end your combos and stuff like that. So like you want to get the ball rolling, and he's just gonna come in and just end that real quick.
Before we move on, let's talk about this number 10 here. So he has Shin. Agree or disagree? We'll start with you, Desla. Is that also your top 10?
In mine? Oh, I guess I'll pull up my tier list I made recently. This is before Kid Buu dropped, so let me see. Funnily enough, actually, that's the exact spot I have on my list I made for part 2. Yeah, so I agree.
All right, Madara, you're 1 for 1. What about you, Glow? Is he also your number 10?
I have him there too. Mine was Kid Buu, but I've noted that like you could have a lot of these units at top 10 at the 10 spot. You could have Shin, you could have Kid Buu, you could have Evil Buu. You could low key even argue Orange Piccolo because of that team me and ZVG have been running, because it makes Gogeta Blue hit like a nuke, but or even Revhan. Well, what is it, Cryhan? That's what we call him now instead of Doghan.
Mm-hmm.
You can run him there too. Like he's solid for 10. I don't got no problems with Shin.
Okay. And then Obsto, what's your number 10? Would you
You
agree?
know.
Oh yeah.
You know who my number 10 is.
Android 16?
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I wholeheartedly mean that.
So funny enough, I have a friend. His name is Aiden. He's also like a super big Android main, and he's been like telling me how 16 does so many things.
He does. He does.
So I mean, I'm not gonna go against that. I mean, I'm just saying like he does seem pretty solid. I just think he's missing some things, but he does look like a pretty good unit. I just have
He's
to say,
fantastic right now.
Hey man, we got
hey, being green ain't your friend right now. I'll just say that much though.
Bro, I don't even care. Like I'm not like, bro, how I build 16 is completely defensive, and no matter what damage he's taking, unless it's a rush, he's not dying.
He's living rushes from like
I've had
Golden
my
Frieza
16.
too.
I've had my 16 take 3 rushes from the new Vegito
Reasons?
and just live.
Oh, I think you posted a clip like that. Actually, no. Somebody was crapping on Vegito. You're like, oh, he only did like 1 billion to 16. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
green beats blue.
Well, as for
But,
number 10,
but even then, like yesterday, I don't have the lobby anymore. But yesterday, my 16 took a raw ult from a 9-star Ultimate Gohan and lived with more than half its HP.
power down. It's too good. Well, as for my top 10, I have Nat Vegeta as my number 10 spot, just because of how these blast base PO is slowly climbing in the ranks. But what's your number 9, Madara?
Yeah, we'll move on to that. But before that, I do just want to point out, I do agree with Glow. So when I say number 10, like 10 and all those HMs I mentioned are literally interchangeable. Like they're all just units that are like, they're not, like I said, they're not bad. They're just like, it just depends on what you play, how you play. That's basically it for number 10, right?
Oh, for sure.
Number 9, oh my God. This dude is only here because he has a Sun family tag. I'm telling you right now, the USTR unit, Godku, is number 9 for me.
Oh my gosh. Yo, he's not that bad though. He's
So here's the
not.
thing, right?
You a better man than me because I ain't got him in top 10.
So here's the thing about Godku, right? It's not a matter of being good or bad. The problem is he's not good for what the game is now, right? So this meta is very handheld. I'll be straight up with you. A lot of the units in the top just do things that like you don't even have to think about. With Godku though, besides that AoE green card, you have to like play super careful. Like he actually requires you to have some brain cells, and it's actually unfortunate because I think he's a pretty neat looking unit. I like skill based units, but there's a difference between being rewarded for skill and just flat out having to try the entire match. One example is Super Vegito. Remember I had mentioned previously, like he's pretty skill based before he fuses. Yeah, he becomes brain dead afterwards when he fuses, but that's why you're getting rewarded for having played well the entire match. Godku is just like, oh man, you're just sweating your balls off the entire match. If you have to sack somebody off, like bro, take him. I'd rather give him up than Shin, and that's saying a lot. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh no. So we're just gonna ignore his 100% cut pin on ult?
Yeah, the one that
That
took
shit
over
ain't
left lane.
enough.
It's not enough.
So
It's
funny
not.
enough, bro, when I did that grind I told you for my friend, he was type neutral and he did that ultimate on my friend's Gohan, which is only, by the way, 6 stars from a 14-star Godku, and he lived. So that was the funny thing. Uh, yeah, and this was
Wow.
before the plat, so that means Gohan was not even tanking. So
Wow.
again, he's only here because of the Sun family tag. Honestly, I was even contemplating putting him at HM and maybe even putting Super 17 up here. I'm not even gonna lie. But yeah, that's pretty much number 9.
Well, I guess we'll go around the room. You guys agree or disagree with
You
number
sound
9?
so
Yo,
depressed.
I'm
Yo.
defeated with this shit, man. Because I have him higher. I have him a couple spots higher, but
Yeah, I saw no, I saw your list, man. You had it like super high. I was like, oh shit.
I
You're
think
making
he's
it like-
great. He
I think
does
he's
agree.
playing
How do
no
we,
He
time
blocks
how do
the
we
battle,
tell him,
knee,
bro?
vanish restoration. Like you can't sleep on that, right?
Bro, how do we tell him?
Well, if you're Gohan, you can sleep on it because you just freaking killed this dude in like 3 counts.
Well,
Man.
CMZ too.
CMZ's
man.
yeah, CMZ he's a problem. Like it's contemplating on putting him higher than that, but I digress. But for the number 9 slot, do you guys agree or disagree with Madara's placement?
I disagree because I'm not even letting him touch honorable mention.
What about you, Op? Still agree or disagree?
What with Gaku?
Yeah, number 9.
Yeah, I can see him being there. Yeah.
And then you, Desla, agree or disagree?
So this is unfortunate. I actually had him placed like a spot higher.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Smoking dick.
Okay. Bro, let me finish. So, pretty much the reason behind it was that I'd use him personally on a call, I think a couple like weeks ago or something like that. And he impressed me there pretty well. I'm not going to lie. I only had him at 4, and he was definitely putting in some work. And that's the reason why I put him at 8 personally. But as time has passed and I've seen more gameplay and I've encountered more like Godku's, and enemy comps and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but it's gotten worse, and it's to the point where if I gotta be real, like I wouldn't have him top 10. And
HM? He just dropped.
I probably have
told
it.
you, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's like Madara is saying again. Like this meta is very handholdy with like the top 5 units currently that just literally do everything for you without minimal brain power required really at all. And Goku, you have to fight for your life. Like that's just how it goes. And I mean, that's great and all that. If the rest of the meta was like that, it's not. So it's a thing of where again, I'm sorry, but like
it's all right.
Yeah, it is what it is. I
It
mean,
is what it is,
currently,
man.
like my issue with it is that they could have very easily given him the tools to succeed far more than he does right now. Like again, the point that Madara made, the fact that he couldn't kill a type disadvantage or like a purple unit while being green with minus 100 to sustain cut. The only way they could have worked around that would have been a perfectly fine solution because they gave it to an LF Zenkai was do the same thing they did for him, but for LF Ape Jita, actually, where he actually wipes downgrades and debuffs on an ult proc. So it basically means that arts power debuffing is wiped completely from him, which would essentially allow his ult to nuke like it's supposed to. However, they didn't do that, in addition to not giving a bunch of shit that they just gave to Gohan because it's Gohan.
Gohan
So-
Ball Legends.
Yep. Like again, I don't know, man. I was personally hyped as shit for his reveal because I've set a record before, and I'll say it again. Battle of Gods is my favorite Dragon Ball movie, period. And the fact that they did him the way they did, and it's only gonna get worse after he's off boost, it just pisses me off, to be honest. To the point where like I was maybe coping it like when he came out to maybe like fine tune some of his problems, but I'm starting to lean more towards the crowd of people that like don't even think a plat's gonna be enough. When that time does come soon, I can't imagine it's not soon, but I don't know. It blows my mind that both he and Gohan dropped at the exact same time. You would think they were months apart.
It feels like they were. I mean, I feel like he was supposed to be even earlier within the year, but because of how the anniversary went and people have been rooting to have this Gaku be released, I think they may have changed the release schedule to drop him now versus then later. I mean, we read his kit. There was typos in his kit saying he was going to draw the blue in an ult, but he ended up drawing a green and ult. Like, he seems hack-baked. So like I'm hoping at some point they do a Go Frieza type of update on this unit and add just a little bit more defensive utility into his kit. I mean, you've mentioned the debuff removal on ult and stuff, which would help him out, so he can do what he's supposed to do, which is kill on ult. But again, we'll have to see if they even decide to do that, or they're just gonna let Gohan carry part
The
2.
problem
Listen,
with
I'm
that,
gonna tell you right.
unfortunately, like
It's not happening, brother
No,
man.
I know it's
not
not.
happening.
It's not. The thing that Glow's going to mention right now, you already made a point about it, I think a week ago, but
Mhm.
basically that the reason why Go Frieza got what they got is because I'm not. Let's not try and mince words. They just weren't hype. Like, let's be real. I mean, they were a unit that represented a finale for a series that ended like 5 years ago. Like, no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
So it's that combined with the fact that they just, you could maybe argue that they were top 10 on the lower end when they came out, if even that. So it was an issue of where they were unhype and they weren't good enough to warrant summoning for. So it was a thing of where the devs are like, oh shit, we need to buff them like crazy to get people to give a shit. Sure enough, they stated in very plain text, this is a one time thing. We will likely never do this again. So I don't know why people had this expectation it's going to continue to happen when they made that very clear that's how it was going to be handled. It was a one time exception that the only reason why they did it is because I can guarantee you for an anniversary headliner they were underperforming big time. So what they do is give him a huge manual balance change to make a whole ass new character basically to the point where they were number one for half a year until Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and
complete night and day difference overnight.
yeah, and I think people have to remember, like, Go Frieza is what started in Annie, and they were getting slandered. Gaku is already coming into this part two. You have Ultimate Gohan, like, pairing them up. I don't think I don't think we should expect like single banners really that much for Annies anymore because they know they can slap off a trash ass unit as long as the other one is hype or busted. That's all that really matters. Like God, like go and that's what I was bringing up. Like the tweet I put out like a few weeks ago. Like I hate that Go Frieza got a buff, not because they got buffed, but because of the precedent that's set. They've always put in the description for the game the devs at any moment in time can change the unit's kits. They've never really drastically done it. The only things they've really ever done was either one, change some tags, or two, I think Madara and Desla also might remember this. Red Gogeta's ult on Zenkai was fast as fuck. It was the like fastest frames, and they had to like go into the game and like nerf his frame so that because it was to the point where like you could long range ult, and even if you got PV'd, like you could react before your opponent could do anything, even on a PV. Those are the only times they ever made like actual big changes. Them doing essentially a balance change on meth was it was a bad precedent for the game because that's essentially telling the player base, hey, we know this unit was shit. We know this unit was ass, and we know this unit didn't sell, and we know this unit had functional problems. We're going to make them the most cracked unit in the game for the next 6 months, so that way you have to summon for them. And we know, and that's essentially telling the player base, we know when units are trash. We know when units have problems, and we can fix it anytime we want. We won't. So now every single time they drop a unit like Super Vegeta, people are saying he needs to be buffed. USB, he needs to be buffed. Every single time the devs drop a trash unit, people are always gonna look to Go Frieza. And it's like that thing like some shorties say to like their mans, if he could, he would. You can see the devs with this unit. If they can, they would. They're not gonna do it, dog.
Well, there goes my hopes and
They
dreams.
don't care. Like,
Shattered.
don't like if Gaku gonna get a plat. It's gonna be right before a fest, and it's just gonna be essentially a little bit of stats, and it's gonna be like, oh, he's back in feature boost. That's all they're gonna give him.
And another thing I have to mention specifically is, remember, this is like based on meta, right? So when we talk about teams, all right, let's talk about Godku's teams. Sun Family, right? Are you really gonna use him over Ultra Gohan?
I mean,
No.
No, right?
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
All right, he's the best unit on God Key. All right, what options we got? We got Shin and we got Beerus.
You got CMC too.
And then you also have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Gogeta
And
Blue.
GB. And Gogeta.
CMZ and GB do not deserve to be in the presence of this garbage ass
Oh
USTR unit,
god.
bro. You know, like those two are fusion warriors, bro. We do not touch Gaki. All right, we don't touch
They
Gaki
have the
with that
Gaki
garbage.
tag.
There.
I got the guy, and he
No,
gives
no, 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 no,
HP.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
Gaki
no, no,
HP.
no, no. They better make a new tag called Realm of Gods for actual gods and not USTR units like this garbage, bro. I'm not even gonna
Wow.
lie. You know how Dokkan did that? I think they have like Realm of Gods
Yeah,
instead of
Yup.
like God. Yeah, that's what they need to do, bro. And then put this garbage guy in USTR. Keep him there.
like fucking
I,
Jiren's on it.
The slander right now is
I just
wild.
Yeah.
don't. I just like. I'm just disappointed, dude. Like, Battle of Gods was one of my favorite movies, probably like a top three. And even though I'm not a big fan of the form itself, because I'm a Super Saiyan 4 fanboy, so
Yo, real. He
My man.
real. That's some real shit.
yeah, not for. I just like the primal version. Anyways, so I still wanted to see this unit get justice because as somebody that likes something like Dragon Ball Z Broly that he himself has not gotten justice in this game, I was looking forward to at least the Godku fans getting something for themselves because they've been asking for this for like years, dude. So then they get this shit. It reminds me of us Glow when we got fucking Ultra DBZ Broly.
Oh
I
my
fucking
god,
busted
bro.
all over just for this dude to not even know what he wants to be, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, really? Over here acting like a defense unit. I'm like, dude, replaced by UGB in like a month.
Bro,
Anyways,
I coked him so much after UGB. I was like, hold on. You can still use him. You can still use him. I knew damn well in my heart, like, bro, why the fuck did they make both of them purple?
the
Yeah,
problem with a lot of
like
units that take over others is they're scared to make a mistake. So, for example, we all know Purple Belljack has still to this day has the best cover change ever because this dude has a universal cover change eternally. Like he's not limited to two, it's not limited to three. It's just keep doing it. Sure, it has the drawback that he hurts your teammate, but have you realized that they've been scared to do that? Everything that has universal cover change is limited to like
Yeah.
two.
And think about how
mm-hmm.
many units have such crazy health restore and HP regen that like it
Exactly.
does not matter.
Exactly. But yeah, they're scared. Anyways, this Godku is just number 9 for me. And again, he's only here because he has the Sun family tag. Even if you're never gonna use him there, he's saved by that. If he didn't have the Sun family tag, I don't even know if he'd be HM. I'm gonna be real with you.
Damn. Damn. That's wild. Well then what's the number 7 looking like then?
So I have number 8.
Oh,
I
number
have
8.
8,
Yeah.
7, and 6. So these 3 units, I just feel like they can kind of be interchanged. But I'll go in order in my experience and what I think. So for number 8, I do have the Golden Frieza, the Ultra.
Whoa.
Ow!
That's
Yeah.
Whoa.
super low. Whoa.
So, but you're gonna see my reasoning later. All right. So, the unit, but I say he can be interchanged with number 7 and 6. All right, they can all be interchanged. The reason I just have him here is because, again, that revive mechanic, it was pretty busted. I just don't see it as busted anymore because it really doesn't do anything. Most of the units on top just heal it off anyways. We have the 2 fusions. Okay, I'm gonna fuse and I get all my HP back. So that shit didn't do anything. The ultimate Gohan. Oh, I'm gonna pop a green. I'm gonna just heal it off. UI, you just pop this thing. It doesn't matter. But he does have a scary team. I've seen people run this dude with the freaking first form Frieza and that CMZ,
Yes, sir.
and that thing can just melt. It can melt. Like this unit is still him. Like he's not to be taken, lightly. He's still him. The only reason I have him down here is because again, this meta does have a bunch of yellows, and when there's a bunch of yellows, purples kind of lose a little bit of value. But again, that doesn't mean he's bad. He's still amazing, and again, he can be interchanged with the other 2 I have above him. It's just up to preference. In proud mode, he's still one of the kings of proud mode. But for standard battle, I rather use the other 2 I put above him, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll start off with you, Op. So do you agree with UGF's placement?
I guess, yeah. Sure, why not?
What about you, Desla? I heard a huff and a puff from your side.
I mean, I'm not even like a big old like PO main or whatever, but I've never since he came out seen someone place him that low. So that just definitely caught me off guard. But I don't know. I think I have him at 4 personally, and the reason why is the you mentioned that one variant of PO, but the other variant that works very well with him is him with CMZ and Baby. That trio is so annoying. Like it just does so much. You have Baby's constant disrupt, CMZ just like nuking with his damage and being able to snipe very easily. Baby who can also snipe as well with his gauge. And then Frieza who's just like able to be the safety of the team, be able to easily tank any kind of big damage or a rush and be able to come right back and continue the fight, whatever. Also being able to go type neutral in the ultimate makes it to where he's a threat to anybody if he gets that off. And it's AoE damage as well, so it's very good in that aspect. So just a lot of stuff that PO team is doing to be able to be very anti-meta to what I would currently say the best team in the game, and it's not really a debate, it's Sun Family.
Yep.
And that PO team can make Sun Family sit the fuck down. I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple of times where I personally main Sun Family, so a couple of times I think last season towards the tail end of the actual season itself, where I nearly got my ass beat by PO. I'm not gonna lie. Like there should not be any kind of whining, complaining, whatever about how like Sun Family is where it's at when PO can very easily compete and not only compete but outright destroy them because of how many tools they have at their disposal to be able to just wipe them out. Like if I was not playing at my my A game into those matches, I could have very easily lost because of how much they have at their disposal to be able to use at any moment's notice. It's crazy. So for that reason, with that one team in mind, I'm sorry I can't place them any lower than like top 5. I just can't do it.
And then as for your number, and that was 8, right? That was 876. What was your 8 placement?
Yeah. Well, he's 8, 7, or 6. So that's the funny thing about what he just mentioned, because the other 2 units I have above him are literally those other 2. It's Baby and CMZ. Like I said, they can be interchanged because the 3 of them. I have seen that team he's talking about. It coordinates really well, specifically with the Sun Family variant we have right now. When it comes to color synergy, this PO team, you know, literally color counters the entire Sun Family build. So as long as you manage your colors right, you can do a lot. Um, so yeah, I mean, what I have for number 7 is actually Baby. I have Baby right there. Very disruptive, very annoying. Since we don't face him that much in ladders, I think people kind of don't even know what he does. So they kind of don't even have a game plan. I think the funniest thing about Baby is if he rushes you, and then like you're one of those people that love to tackle after a rush, you're gonna get cooked because this dude just has a full hand right after a rush, which is hilarious to me. And if his gauge is full, he just ults you, and like you just lost 2 units in the span of 5 seconds. So that's always cool. Um, yeah, and I just think him being yellow is very good right now because again, best unit in the game is a purple unit. That does a lot of damage, so Baby can halt that damage just by taking 3 cards. That's it, you know. Having that ability to lock in with the ult is also very good. And I know even though Gohan does eliminate buffs, I still like the fact that Baby's blue card on gauge does kill your endurance because it's very useful against Ultra Gohan. You know, we can't forget that Ultra Gohan is still roaming around. He's pretty much very well seen, and he himself doesn't remove any buffs. So if he's on the field and takes a blue card to the face, it's over. So I really like that about Baby. That's my number 7 right there. But like I said, 6, 7, 8, all interchangeable for me.
Gotcha. And then Glow, do you agree with the placement 6, 7, and 8?
Oh, well, regarding Frieza, I agree with the reasoning. I don't agree with the placement because, like Madara said, I essentially play movie slash PO now, essentially, and I know I run Frieza on like 2 setups. I won him on one setup that doesn't have any Zenkai benches, and I ran him with purple red. I know Madara saw it on stream. Um, yeah, he's like two. Frieza is like 2 different units. Like if you're running him on a normal setup, he has maybe 1 or no Zenkai benches. Like I'd argue he's fair and balanced. But if he's on like the purple red setup, like even yellows aren't tanking him. And if you think he hits hard, if CMZ dies and you still have first form Frieza alive, he like UGF is getting a 30% damage, which is just right then and there. That already hits hard is going to hit even harder. Like he is going to like shred anybody. And because of that purple red team, that's why I personally had him like 5. Um above like CMZ, UI, Baby, and all of them, even Super 17. Just for the fact of like, and the other thing is like USV does exist with his whole rush, and the fact that comeback doesn't count as revival, so he doesn't get buffed by that. But
Mm.
GB is still here. GB will shred him, like regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like as much as like I can say that, oh, if UGF catches him with the post comeback ult, he's gonna get him. Like Gogeta Blue is still going to shred him. Like it does not matter there. UI, I'm not that afraid of with him. Baby, I would be because Baby's gauge is cracked. I do think I do think Baby is very underrated, like Madara is saying, like him getting the cards. But I think a lot of people aren't realizing the fact that Baby has access to every disruption that is relevant right now. If you switch against him via tag switch or whatever, he's gonna debuff your card. He's gonna give you a card draw speed debuff. On gauge, he's reducing key, he's destroying cards, and he's sealing your main ability. Like he has all the like disruptions that are currently in the game. I think what Baby is right now, like he is probably the best bulk unit in the game, and I understand agree with that. But at the same time, his placement is weird because GT isn't in the greatest spot.
Mm.
PO is arguably a top three team.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could argue him higher, but at the same time, it comes down to his frequency. Like I see more babies in my queue than most people, but at the same time, I'm not gonna say like he's a common unit because I've seen some people go entire streams and not see one baby. So I'm not against the baby. I wouldn't agree with the Frieza one per se, but I understand baby.
Yeah, I can understand Baby as well. Frieza, I have him at 4 because, counter you doesn't buff the Super Vegito. Like it's in my opinion too strong. Like the up on the cost and the blast cards and stuff. I feel like this is the better or the best like revival counter option we have in the game that doesn't like reward your opponent. But I mean, so far, the other placements I agree with. I agree with. All right, what about the next placement? I think we're at number 5, right?
Oh, still 6. I didn't really talk about 6,
Oh,
which
go
is
ahead.
CMZ. Like I said, 6, 7, 8, all interchangeable. I just want to talk about CMZ a little bit. Um, I don't think we have to talk much about CMZ. Like we all know what he does, right? He just freaking hurts. For
Yep.
some reason, dude, he just freaking hurts. Like one strike will do like 40% of your health if you're not a blue unit. And if you are, you get caught by that green card, like probably half your health is gone. Um, I think he's very, very good because on top of doing that damage, I like the fact that he fits on many core teams. So powerful opponents, like we went through, um, very good. Not just for standard mode, but I think for proud mode, it might be the best team in the game as far as proud mode goes. If you like playing proud mode, he fits well on Fusion Warriors. Obviously, unfortunately, we are forced to use PyCon as a third because we do need rush control since we don't have anything like that with Vegeta and Gogeta. Regardless, though, CMZ is also usable right there, and if we just want to snowball, we just do it. That dude is very good. That green card, putting your sub counts up. That ultimate hits really hard. Everything. CMZ is just like him, man. Like I really like what they did with Zenkai, and then that plat really just helps solidify him as one of the best units in the game right now. Not much to say besides that. So I have him, Baby, and Frieza as interchangeable, 6, 7, and 8.
Interesting. And I believe we've already made our comments on if we agree or disagree with like CMZ, but do you guys agree with that or no?
I think I can.
You got him at
At
6?
6, yeah, that's exactly where I got him to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's. I have him at 7. I have 6s. I ain't gonna mention because you guys don't even have him in your top 10. He's honorable mentions, but again, I digress.
The USTR unit.
Yep, the USD
Yeah.
unit.
Yeah, I think the big thing about CMZ is that like before how do I say it? Like back when he first released, his best teams were either God Key and Future. Future was a more strike-based team. God Key gave him access to Vados. I think what his Zenkai did was it made him good enough that like you can low-key run him on mixed teams, even though I would say run a strike-based team. But at the same time, good enough that like you don't need a support unit. He can just run how he normally does, and he will do the damage. He will do his job. Like there's so many small details they really gave CMZ that you just gotta think like the devs definitely took their time with like building him up. Like the fact that his damage against Saiyans can't be canceled. So even if you try and cancel his other buffs, if you're a Saiyan, he's still going to have a good amount of like bonus damage against you. His ability to like seal green cards and kill Dragon Balls, like I've been noticing now, instead of just having like a certain unit that's a Dragon Ball killer, they're starting to sprinkle Dragon Ball Destruction more and more often on these units' kits. Like UI does it like what, twice on swap out. GB does it like about three times. One time on swap out for each of the like tag forms, and then one for GB. Same thing with Super Vegito with the Buu Saga Bros. They do it on green cards. Like I think him having that lets him have a lot more longevity. And I think I like see like when I compare him to like a top tier Zenkai like Forku, I think CMZ has a potential to be better than Forku just outright, simply because as much as good as the damage that CMZ does, he still gives you value even if he dies. And I think that in and of itself is still crazy.
Like an
Yeah.
offensive, hyper offensive unit that gives death buffs, and it's like not even like bad death buff. It's really, really good death buffs. All right. So then I think now we're at the top five. What's your five looking like?
So this might just be bias, in the sense of like I hate fighting this unit, not because he hurts me or anything like that. I just okay. So
I know what it is. I know already. Just off that, I know who it is.
so the reason I have him here is because this game's become very passive, right? So you kind of have to fight to actually get a priority in if your opponent just stands there all day and doesn't do anything. And I hate the fact that after working so hard to finally get the combo, it can just end because of this motherfucker. So I'm sorry. This is probably my first curse word. I just hate seeing this unit. I just hate every variant of this unit because of the passive play it promotes. So I have the PV merchant UI number here
Mm-hmm.
because not only is his color good, yellow right now we have again the best unit in the game is purple. But if you get caught by him and you're not actually red, that alt locking can do a lot of damage, possibly kill you if you don't remove buffs. But again, like I just don't like the fact that he promotes passive play and your combo can just end if your team is strike based. So again, I main fusions. Fusions is strike based. I land a card on this dude, and then the second card I gotta drop the combo. Now I have to freaking try to PV fish, hit the PV fisher for the next 10 counts. Hopefully, I get the priority to just repeat it again because why? He's ran with another PV merchant, Ultra Gohan over there. So fighting those two is just super annoying. I don't like the type of play they promote, so that's the only reason he's here. Sun Family Tag. If they had just limited him to like something like Unireps or God Key, it wouldn't be that bad. But when you have two units with similar gauges running around the same team, paired with somebody that just dropped that literally nukes it, it's just very, very tedious to fight.
I agree. Like that, I also have him as my number five slot as well, and I think the passive play that they're promoting with the Sun Family tag is definitely tiresome to face. And I'm glad that they are trying something new with the Gogeta Blue with this assault gauge to kind of ignore some of the unique gauges from it. It's just, you got to get that blast off first and then you chain the strikes and then that's when it actually starts working. But if your hand is full of strikes, you can't do shit. Uh, but for everybody else, do you guys agree with number five placement as Ultra UI at number five?
Yeah, I got him at 5.
I would place him a little lower, like in number 6 or something, but I'm fine with him at 5.
Yeah, I got him like what is it? I think I got him like 5 or 6. So I don't hate it.
Okay, looks like we all aligned on that. We either five or six. All right, good job, Madara. Next.
I thought it was just me. Yes. Okay. The next one is a unit I tried to cope when he dropped. Glow knows there, but me and Glow were the only ones that were like not biased towards this unit when he dropped. He's definitely gone up thanks to the most recent release. So here we have my man Gogeta Blue.
All right.
Now, the reason I kind of downplayed him when he came out, and rightfully so, was yeah, his assault chain, cool. It gets rid of UI and Gohan, right? The problem is trying to fuse to get that, right? This unit, unlike Vegito, has a harder time fusing because you actually have to land the cards, right? And when back then the main two units that were being ran were Gohan and freaking UI over there, and all you have is strikes. How the hell are you gonna fuse, right? Even if one of your characters dies, he doesn't get to fuse like Vegito does. So he just had a hard time fusing, and that's the main reason I downplayed him. I also don't like the fact that the assault chain doesn't let you add green cards or blue cards. Like it just, it still gets countered. So I feel like they held back in that sense. But the best unit in the game being purple has definitely given him more value. And even though I hate fighting UI, he's not a person to say I haven't seen that many of him anymore. So the most things I see are usually that Ultra Gohan and that purple Gohan. So it's kind of good. It's more easier to fuse. And once he gets to fuse into Gogeta, he's bulky. He does a lot of damage. So he's there to eat hits. Like he can eat hits and deliver back. Because I've legitimately one comboed 14-star Gohans with this Gogeta with just strike cards, not even needing any extra cards, just pure strikes.
Wow.
And then at the same time, not taking that much damage back. And the cool thing, like I had mentioned earlier, is if you're a smart player, even if you have the fusion available, if you have all your HP, don't fuse it. You know, unless you're fighting Gohan, then maybe you can. But if you're fighting anything else, like hold on to it. Once you're low HP, you fuse and you're basically back to full HP. Like you just got a new unit. So that's what I like. I like that he does gain his Vanish back on main as a Gogeta Blue. Really helps with the comebacks. It's just a very good unit overall right now.
Understood. And then as for the group, do you guys agree with the number 4 placement for Gogeta Buu being number 4?
Oh yeah. Like I have Gogeta Blue and SV. I have them like tied 3-4
Yeah.
because Goji like when me like bro, everyone swore just because we had criticisms of the unit, niggas were swearing, "Oh, y'all hate the unit. Y'all hate him for this, this, and that." I'm like, bro, I'm being honest about the unit. I still think he's good. But like I'm not like in a honeymoon phase with y'all 24/7. Like he got issues. His only issues really was literally there are some discrepancies like I don't like between him and SV. Like SV having ceiling, him having none. SV having a lot more like vanish removal, um arguably easier type neutral, like a bunch of stuff. GB does have his own things. He's the bulkier of the two. He has the more controlled vanish recovery. Like he arguably had like he no, he definitely has like the higher damage due to his setups, but like GB's issue before was the fact that like okay, his assault chain, his big gimmick was meant for UI and Gohan. UI it shreds through him. Gohan is situational. And I think the biggest thing that helped GB was CMZ because CMZ has his blue card and his ult with his main, which now is another added threat to Ultra Gohan. Ultimate Gohan existing now is free food for GB. And if CMZ dies, that helps GB against Ultra Gohan because one, he gets the damage that helps his assault chain. Two, if Gohan still has his endurance, he's not going to recover as much HP, which makes the assault chain better because it means there's less for you to get through. So I think that yeah, GB around there, I think that's really good. Compared to SV, I will say GB generates a rush way faster because of that gauge pre-fusion.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And then Desla, do you agree with the placement for GB being number 4?
I can get behind it. I mean, prior to I guess getting to use him more, I actually try him out on that comp that like both ZVG and like Globin kind of like parading around of like I think him with Orange and then like CMZ, and it did perform pretty well honestly. So I did actually get to use Gogeta to I think better effect, especially with two purples running around and causing some problems. So I think that this is probably the best he'll ever feel if I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be completely transparent. So enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. But um, I would say that I think bare minimum you have to have them top 5. So I think that that placement's fine.
Good deal. And then you, Opso, do you agree with the 4 placement as well?
Yeah, I do.
Good stuff. Yeah, my number 4 we already talked about is the UGF, but I actually have him tied with 2 between the both fusing fusions, solely because the Gohan made a emergence into the meta, him being a purple, you know, Sun Family, unique gauges. I value the assault chain very highly. As long as you are able to get a blast card to kind of initiate the chains of strikes to really put in that damage. But overall, I respect the placement. All right, so we're on the top 3. What's the number 3 looking like?
Okay, so this was hard to do because like so originally these two number 2 and 3 were swapped, but remember how I mentioned at the start that the equip kind of made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So now me for 3, I have Ultra Gohan.
Wow. Okay. Respectful.
So the reason being, obviously, like he's really annoying to fight and all that. Like I mentioned, the same thing as UI, but obviously worse because he can actually, counter you with a blue for striking him. That comeback potential is still there. Having that double ultimates, getting your vanish back, just hitting hard as hell, being ran under one of the well, basically the best team in the game, Sun Family slash hybrids. Having access to some of the best equips in the game. I think hybrids have the best equips in the game. Um, Even though he's off boost, he still hits like a truck. Now his defenses aren't all there. Like that gauge, he actually relies a lot more on that gauge now than he did before. I'd say to actually sustain himself. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think he needs that much explanation. Gohan is still pretty much him. He does everything he was doing, just a little bit less.
Yeah, respectful. And that's who I have as my number 3 as well, Ultra Gohan, because Sun Family is the best team in the game. And I think we can kind of guess what 2 and 1 is going to look like. But again, with being partnered with the Ultra UI and then also the Ultimate Gohan, you have a unit that removes buffs. You have one that also has 2 units that have endurance. And then you just have, Ultra UI that can literally be the ultimate sniper and stop you from switching. Like, you really can't go wrong. And if you somehow try to rush the Ultra UI Goku, he removes your buffs and your goddamn vanish. So it's like, why does Sun Family have all these tools? Why are they able to do so much? Why do they have the best offensive and best defensive kits in the game? And everybody on the let me stop. And everybody on the team is a killer, but I'm gonna dial it back because it doesn't make sense. Group, do you guys agree with the number 3 placement with this Ultra Gohan? I feel this is gonna be consistent because there's nowhere else to go, right?
I mean, I got him at 2.
So then number 3, I'm assuming would be the fusing Vegito.
3, I have tied between Super Vegito and GB. 2,
Mm.
I have Ultra Gohan because I feel like Ultra Gohan. The only reason I have Ultra Gohan at 2, and I'd have him above is not because of like he has stuff that's gotten like manageable. Somehow, I don't know what happened. Blast Break is still annoying, but it's not as bad as it was when it first dropped. Like with Super 17 and Red Green, like Blast Break was absolute hell. Now it's kind of like just annoying. It's like it just like you just can't abuse blast armor in the mid range as much. That's really it.
Yeah.
Like there's not as many times where I'll be like, damn, fuck this blast makes a bitch to deal with. It's just like, all right, I just gotta be like cognitive of it. It's mostly his last man standing. Last man standing Gohan is still a bitch and stupid as hell because he hits like around or above 300% damage inflicted. It's like, why did you make this nigga like this?
Because it's a
Like I
Gohan.
got like, bro, there's no reason for him to have 2 fucking ults. And the second one, he's going like, and last man standing, he's going type neutral. Like, Gohan doing all this stuff just makes me think, like, bro, I hate, like, I really hate to say it, but when I look at Ultra Gohan, I see FSK, and I feel like Ultra Gohan is really going to outstay his welcome to the point where I think the only way he dies is if we have like another like Blue Bros Fest where like the entire game just gets reset. And I feel like we're reaching that point.
Mm.
Hmm.
And then Desla, do you also agree with the number 3 placement as well?
I personally have Vegito there, and I have Ultra Gohan ahead of him. But I can understand where he's coming from.
I mean, it looks like it could be interchangeable from what it looks like at this point because I think we all have the same hatred for this Ultra Gohan. What about you, Ops? Though, do you agree with the number 3 placement as well?
I'm in the same boat as Tesla.
Gotcha. And then 2 and 1. I mean, 2 is Super Vegito, I'm assuming, and number 1 is Ultimate Gohan.
Pretty much, yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said previously, I mean, I did have the same thing they did. Like I had Gohan in 2 and Vegito in 3. I just think that plaid is like so damn unnecessary, and Vegito could use it too. So I mean, that's the only reason I kind of put him a little higher because. So again, I do main fusions, right? But when I was playing for my friend, I used this damn hybrid teams, and I got 1v3'd by Vegito 10 times in a row. So uh, that you could call that a skill issue. Yeah, it is a skill issue. But this character is just so fucking annoying to fight too, bro. Like, oh my god. Like, okay, let's start with what he does, right? That rush, first of all. guarantee, right? So if you're not using Ultimate Gohan to swap into Ultra Gohan, you're just getting rushed and you're dead. That's one thing. Two, I just like the fact that he can keep up combos very long. Now, yeah, you do have that gauge with Ultra Gohan to keep going, but at this point, I think if you're actually a skilled player, you know that you just have to pop it, man. Like the longer you stall popping that gauge, the more complicated it'll be later, because you kind of want to get rid of it. By the time if both of you guys end up being last man standing, you kind of want to make sure that gauge is not standing in your way of making a comeback. On top of that, again, he has the same thing as Gogeta Blue in the sense of if you're doing well in the match and you still have all your HP before fusing, save it. That's a free full heal, but you got to be smart about it. They can go neutral for a bit, and they hurt, man. That's the thing. They hurt, and the fact that their team of fusions with the best equips possible have close to 5 million HP per unit while still hitting hard is literally mind-boggling to me. Because back in the day, I used to like making like 5 million HP Vegito Blue on this team. Like it looked menacing, but it was pretty ass because like yeah, he'd have a lot of HP, but he would tickle you, right? But now it's like that's a reality. Like they have almost 5 million HP, but they're also hurting you by a lot. So like you're literally coping. Like you can't do damage to them, and then at the same time they're doing a bunch of damage to you. So
Yep.
I just think like they can be both exchanged. I just think that that little equip just does make a difference. And then Vegito just having more team options. For starters, he is also on Sun Family. He is a Sun Family unit per se, quote unquote. He has Fusion Warriors. He has the gimmick team of Super Saiyans, even though I hate Bardock. Um, he can also be ran on Majin Buu Saga, which with this plat again just became a complete team for Proud Mode that actually is very, very good. So I just have him there, but again, they're very interchangeable. So I'm not against either putting him in number three. Like I said, it's just that plat that made me put him in two. But they're essentially the same placement. Top three units are basically the most the best in the game. So
Oh yeah, makes sense. Let's just hope that Gaku gets something similar within the next week or so.
and then let me just discuss one so we can talk about it because we're all gonna agree on number one, right? We have Ultimate Gohan number one. Um, Not much has to be said. I mean, this dude hurts, hurts. He has that type Dragon Fist type main where he basically takes your vanish and then can just nuke you with his ultimate. Prior to this new equip, he was squishy. So, I mean, I wasn't too like I'm not gonna say I wasn't scared because I mean he is powerful, but I was like, okay, at least if you catch him lacking, he'll die. But now it's like, damn, like he doesn't die that quick. That's and it's even scarier when he's ran with a support unit. Now, most people don't run him with a support; they just run, him with the two ultras, like you mentioned. But sometimes I have seen people run him with Pan, and when that happens, I just forfeit because I'm not trying to get two shot. But
Wow.
anyways, that and nullifying buffs. So if somebody rushes him like Vegito, the buff is removed, so you still have your endurance, or you can just switch to Gohan. And if you guess the card, yeah, the rush goes through, but it won't kill your endurance, and they probably won't even take your first life because since the buffs were removed in general, and because you guessed it, it does less damage. Probably does like a quarter of your health. So things like that. He helps control the battlefield a lot. Like I complained about earlier, this dude doesn't even hold blue cards, but for some reason has like five in a row all the time. I've legit seen people just happy throw them. Like they would just be standing long range and just blue card like out of nowhere. Like who does that? Who plays like that? But it works
Yep.
because you don't expect it. So things like that, and that's the reason I have him as the best. Now I don't think he's going to age that well if I'm being real with you, because when has a unit aged well just for doing damage, right? You need to be able to do a lot more. Yeah, those other things I mentioned, they're not like new. They're not new things. Removing buffs is not a new thing. Super 17 down there, he does that same thing, and he's an HM now. Um, I don't see him aging long term. I think by Fest he'll definitely be like probably out of top 10. I don't see him outliving that, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my tier list. That's the way I see it. I do have to start playing again to actually might move some of these depending on how I experience the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much what I judge it from seeing other top players play. I'd be lurking in Glow's, streams as well. I like to take note of things like that. Uh, Always be seen getting his ass beat. But I think the actual number one
Yo,
character in
Oh,
this game
shade.
is Dragon Ball Legends servers because fuck that shit, bro.
Yeah, that's the ultimate final boss. But as for the list itself, we appreciate you making this list for us, and for all the listeners, expect our official Rising Rush podcast tier list to come out probably within the next day or so, so you can see what all three of our opinions compile to, how we feel the meta is evolving, and then we'll see what everybody else has to say about that. But from the your list perspective, Madara, it's pretty spot on, especially from top five and up. It kind of outline of what we typically see within the meta today, and we could all be in agreement that Ultimate Gohan is just stupid and shouldn't even be like that. Like, who guessed? Anybody guess his release in part two? Was any
I mean,
expecting
no,
Nobody.
because
him?
he's just not anniversary worthy.
Nobody.
And this guy ended up being the best unit in the game. Are we seeing another Ultra Gohan?
My man, have you
repeat?
seen his name? Have you seen what his name is
Gohan?
in this game? Exactly, it's Gohan.
Gohan
Of
Ball
course, they're gonna make
Legends.
him the best unit in the game.
I just wish they would change that, but I digress. All right, so lastly, because I know we're stretching on time here, like we've been going in at it for quite a while here. We have our special guest segment, which is where we send some rapid fire questions to Madara's way, getting to know him, and also allowing you listeners to get to know him more as of a person as well. So we'll do like a question going around the room, and then we'll kind of wrap it from there, depending if there's any additional questions to follow up. But I'll start off. So you've been an OG playing this game for years now. From what you've experienced out of the meta since the game is released, um, how do you balance trying to go for God rank and still do what's needed day to day? Because I mean, I see streams from time to time. People are grinding this game frame one. How did you grind to be the number one player, God rank player in the world when you went for that?
So back when I got rank one, is that the one you're asking about?
Yep.
The rank ones? Okay, so back then we didn't have god rank. The max rank was 50. Um, I will say it was harder in the sense of the RP gain because once you hit the top, every win only gave you one RP. Um, Balancing, there really was no balance, man. I'll be straight up with you. The first time I got rank one, I was still a dumb teenager. I actually got fired from my first job.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because I would show up to work like literally half asleep. Because again, you would only get one RP, so you had to keep a lead. And JP always had the advantage of like boosting. You know that boosting thing is not new; it's been a
Mm-hmm.
thing for ages. But I back then the community when it comes to over here in the West, it wasn't that big, and people really weren't willing to do that type of stuff. And I was just a random, just a random player. So I just had to grind my own way, basically playing like 16 to 18 hours a day sometimes.
Sheesh.
That's how it went for the first four rank one titles. As far as God rank goes, the first God ranks, the first three were probably like the ones that kind of took something. Nowadays, like if you really want to get God rank the way I do, is just like the first 3 days you just play a lot, and then from then on you can actually sustain it with like 5 games a day if you're winning all of them. But it's definitely seen a decline in skill. I think getting top rank back in the day was definitely harder. There weren't that many good players back then, but the good players you fought were extremely good.
Mm.
Now there are more good players, but you actually fight against stars and brain dead stuff more, you know? I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
No, it
Like any
does.
bad player can actually get to the top right now, and then you're gonna struggle with them. I don't want to throw out names, but there's people out there that are literally like always flexing top 10 and stuff, and I'm like, bro, I've seen you play. Mm-mm, mm-mm. That,
so
that
it's
that wouldn't swing back in the day.
so it's like the stars and like some crazy mechanics that these units have nowadays could essentially carry the player, you know,
Yeah,
from what
so
it
like
sounds like.
let's go back, and I don't want to drag this too long because I know you said we have to wrap it up, but let's take this back to 2019, the first time I got rank one, right? Um, we didn't have multiple swap outs, so if you made one bad switch, that's it. You lost the unit. You
Mm.
couldn't switch again. So all right, there goes my unit. Again, you only gain one RP per win after you reach the top ranks. Units didn't really hold your hand, so to win, you actually had to play the game. You couldn't just stay in the back. Now, obviously, we've had a share of toxic units even in our meta. Like I use Namiku. If you've ever seen clips of Prime Namiku, he was probably worse than you. Yeah, he's probably the most toxic unit that ever dropped. Just backflow in the back and just spam blue cards if somebody did anything.
Oh,
So there's always been passive play promotion out there, but it's never been this bad to the point where like a unit can literally do everything for you. Like you can win a match for 60 counts, and then the other guy gets one priority and turns the entire game around. Rising Rush has just quote unquote been nerfed, but it's actually been given out easier than it was before. I don't think back there double Rising Rushes were that common unless you used a specific team that was based on Rising Rush. But nowadays, like you play a game for like 10 seconds and you already have a Rising Rush. That's how crazy it is.
well, all right. So we'll go around the room. We'll start off with you, Op. So, got any questions for Madara?
Hey yo, what was your least favorite meta ever?
Least favorites. Okay, so
Like ever.
okay, so this might be biased, but I actually really hated the LOE meta when Cooler got his Zenkai. I don't know if you guys played back then when the blue Cooler got his
Oh
Zenkai.
man,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Cooler
triple
hit
RP
like a
bullshit.
truck.
bro, you mean in like the
Triple RP
worst
meta?
PvP season ever?
So I'll admit I contributed to the problem because I did summon for the Zenkai power and basically Z7 him. But it was still really bad because there was no fun in playing the game then because obviously if you were free to play, you didn't have 25,000 CC to throw on one character, right? And it was just a matter of okay, who landed the most blue cards if you both had Cooler, and if the other guy didn't have Cooler, okay, sorry, dude, you're getting killed in 5 counts. It was just really tedious, and the servers weren't really that good. I think that was when the Golden Showdown came around, the first one at least, and it was really bad. I just didn't like the experience then. It was really really bad, and then that led to what most people hate, which was the Vegito Blue meta. And yeah, I mean, it all went downhill from there, right? That's where we are now.
My second question is piggybacking off of that same question. What is your least favorite unit ever to come up against?
Um, Probably okay, and this is just from personal experience. Again, it's a Cooler, but now it's the red one
Oh, you just don't like
because
coolers.
no, bro, and that's the thing. Cooler's my second favorite villain, but here's the thing, dude. The reason I hate Red Cooler is because, for starters, again, I like fusion, so seeing Super Vegito get done that bad really pissed me off. One, and then two, I remember playing Billy, right, when this Cooler just dropped, and he was streaming too. This is the worst part. I was trying out this Bardock, SV, and USG team. Do you see the problem with that?
Super Saiyans.
It's Super Saiyans and two yellows, right, versus a red. This dude Billy beat my ass in 5 seconds. I wish I could have forfeited in those 5 seconds because I literally lost all my HP in 5 seconds. And ever since then, I was like, I hate that character. I freaking hate that character. And Janemba's a close second, by the way. I could probably interchange both of them.
And that's because of his unique gauge going into the ult, right?
Yeah, dude, it's like, damn, every Vegito just gets cooked by something. Like, I just don't like it.
Wow. All right, Glow, you're up.
All right. My first question is of any unit that's not in the game yet, what is your most anticipated like LF or Ultra in the game?
So something I've been waiting for years is LFZ Broly.
Yes, sir.
I actually had a countdown for it, and then I stopped counting it down when Ultra Broly released because I'm like, okay, I mean, Ultras are rarer than LF, right? But we saw how he ended up. Um, I lost all hope. I mean, I don't even play this game like that anymore, but I'd still be happy if he drops. That's the most anticipated thing I have. And then if a collab happens with Heroes, I wouldn't mind seeing a Super Saiyan 4 Vegito.
I can see that.
Okay. I fuck with it. Number two, if there was a new mechanic or item or thing brought into the game, what would you want it to be?
A new mechanic. That's a really good question because I really haven't thought about it. They brought the fusion thing. That's one thing I would have liked. And I mean, it's a thing here now, right? I would like to see a character that that has like so an ultra that has like a Frieza comeback, but it's also a transformation, if that makes sense. So like you die, you do damage, but you come back as a different character, like quote unquote transformed. So your stats change. Because I think when Frieza comes back, like it's still the same unit. It's just a second life. You know what I mean?
So like
Yeah.
Python Gogeta.
Kind of like that, like basically with the Frieza type mechanic that does damage and comes back. But it's a different character. I know if that makes
Okay.
sense. Basically, like take it for example, kind of like what you mentioned with Forku. Let's say it's Forku. He starts off right. You beat his ass, and then he does like some type of attack that does your damage. But then he comes back as full power Super Saiyan 4. So he's not the same character he was. He's a different character with higher stats and a different kit. I don't know what you would call that, but I mean, I'd be down for that.
I guess a transforming final counter type of unit. Maybe like a cell where, he dies and then when he comes back, a puff of smoke shoots a beam through the chest type stuff.
Yeah, yeah, like that. That would be really good, actually. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Actually, so I'll probably be the best candidate for that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Then I get it. And then my last question is it's not really Legends related, but it's what's your least favorite workout in the gym?
Dude. I actually okay. So I don't like to do chest, like in general. I don't like any chest
What?
workout, which is funny because I've benched 425 pounds, but
God
I don't
dang.
like it. Yeah, but I don't like it. That's the thing. I don't.
Yeah, you weird as hell.
I just think anything that's repetitive is boring. So like I don't like doing chest. I don't like doing arms. Like they're just boring, bro. Like my favorite thing to do is probably like shoulders or back, but anything chest related pressing is just boring to me.
Hey, shout out to back days, man. Back and biceps is my workout split.
See, like back is variety. Like you can row, pull downs, pull over, shrugs. Like it's different types of movements. But with bench press, like you're just pushing, dude. Like so boring. I don't know. Though. I still got the tatas though, but yeah.
Glow, any other questions before we pass it?
Nah, I'm good. No more.
All right, last but not least, we got you, Desla.
All right. So, out of all the characters that have dropped or been released, what would be like your all-time favorite?
The Ultra Vegito Blue.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like a Vegito stan in general. I just really like blue. The LF one was my favorite until that one dropped.
Okay. All right. And then my other question was if you could pick any meta to go back to, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. So people, if somebody that knows me listen to this, they're probably gonna think I'm like a broken record. Dude, I want to go back to the Saiyan meta, the 2021 one with the 3-Ku G4 and Angel Vegeta.
Really?
I just really like that meta, bro. I know people don't like it because it always ended in timer, but man, like the person that won was the person that landed the most hits. Like the person that actually played the game.
That's fair. I mean, I did run it, so I can't really dispute it. I was the problem, so to speak. So I can respect it.
Yeah, that's probably like the best for me, at least skill. As far as skill came, I know a lot of people disagree on that, but that was just like my favorite meta to run. And I wish it would have lasted a little longer because then leader slot came and it just killed that team completely.
Yeah, nah, valid, valid. That's all I got though.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that concludes our special guest segment. So, again, thanks, Madara, for allowing us to send some questions your way. Hopefully, your listeners were able to get to know Madara a little bit more in depth. And yeah, I mean, the whole like playing Legends for like 18 hours, losing sleep, that caught me off. I was like, dang, Legends out here making people like get fired? That's wild.
Yeah, I was a legend incel, as you would call it, bro. Never again. And no, don't do this at home, kids. Like, bro, do not go for rank one. Like, go to work, go to school, get
Yeah.
money. These pixels ain't doing anything for you. And the reason I say that is because all those rank one titles I have, they're gone. They're poof in the air because those accounts got banned.
Oof. There you have it, folks. Well, that concludes the Dragon Ball Legends segment. Now on to the Dragon Ball related news. We got more news related to the Dragon Ball Sparking game. They released another new trailer. Some of the units that they showed was the Ultra Instinct Sign Goku, Super Vegito, Yajirobe's gonna be in the game. We knew Deborah. I mean, you gotta add Deborah in there if you're gonna do the Buu saga. But then they also showed some clips of Spopovich, which was very unique. I don't think his he's not really like representative in a lot of these like Tenkaichi games, in my personal
He
opinion.
is.
On all of them?
He's in them. Spopovich is in Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Wow. Well, then never mind then. So I guess they're just following the same trend. We'll have to continue to see who else they decide to add. I guess the real question is, who's not gonna be in the game? Because this is next gen, PS5, etc., PC. I don't know if it's gonna be PC now, but PS5. Who's not gonna be in the game? So we'll kind of speculate as time progresses and see, what units they decide to drop between now and October. But
I
then,
will say, I will say for that, don't be surprised if some really obscure characters like get in the game because Babidi was a character in
hmm
Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So if Babidi can get into the game, then anybody can.
wow, I guess he'll be the the measurer for who's qualified to be in the game or not. And we still got plenty of time too. It's only July, or it's about to be July next week. So we'll see what other new news they'll be dropping, because they've been dropping news consistently every week. Another trailer and another trailer. So we'll see how it goes. But that is it for this week's episode. I know we've got a long one, but again, thank you once again, Madara, for joining us on this evening. Again, you guys can check out the episode on Spotify and also on YouTube. Don't forget to follow the social media links. I have those clipped in the description of today's episode. And we'll go ahead and do all of this again next week. And we'll also talk more about our speculations related to part 3. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.